Give me just second.
I'm ready to get punched in the face.
Naughty dice get thrown down the stairs. Yep.
All right.
You can either throw them down the basement steps or the outside porch steps.
No, basement. No outside.
Where else to take them?
Yeah, plus, like, imagine having to look for them in the fucking grass.
Okay.
Well, we could do some really pretty shots with the succulents that somehow live outside. I don't know how. But they're there.
But they're there.
Okay, so our band of adventurers, the Talaria, have arrived at the capital of Embar to attend the Foundation Day celebrations. In the lead up to this, you had temporarily all went your separate ways to do various jobs, such as relaying messages to members of your family, meeting old acquaintances, and then as a group, deciding to go speak with Olivia's teacher, who turned out to be the headmaster of the Arcane Academy, Headmaster Ferrant. And you wound up directly, but not directly, but possibly assisting the Iona Court in finding out what seemed to have happened to a former member of theirs. That said, however, with a few gifts to help on your journey, specifically in regards to the magical book that is held by Kindling, Ferrant let you be to enjoy the celebrations, which you all decided to do. You attended the Foundation Day celebrations, took part in a few of the various games in the square, only to find out about a fighting tournament that is partaking a little bit later on. Deciding to sign up, you then attended the tournament, prepared yourself, and watched as 4 other groups were partaking. People from Arizar, being the Firu, a group called the Ghosts from Jurhan, the delegate and her entourage
The ghost of Jurhan.
from the Isle of Tended Earth, and a ragtag group of mercenaries from, assumingly, Karmora. From where you were standing, you had a view of the battle that was set to come. And that is where we left off. So, as mentioned, from where you're all sitting, you can see that there's some stairs heading upwards, and from where you can see already, it leads to a sort of balcony that allows you to see the arena in which they're fighting in, if you so wish to, or you can simply remain down in the sort of preparation pit where most of the other groups are. You can see a handful of the members of the groups have made their way up to the balcony to watch, whereas some others simply just are sitting there and waiting.
Oh yeah, Mev's gonna go fucking watch.
And
She wants to watch someone go get their ass beat.
Absolutely. Are they selling alcohol? Can I buy alcohol, please? Let's make this a fun sport.
They are not selling alcohol to the fighters.
Damn.
Can't get drunk yet.
That's the after party.
Yeah. So
I summon the Eldritch Anchor.
Wait. Technically, I could get us drunk if I wanted to. I can summon a gallon of wine, or 4 gallons of beer.
that is true. You have the thing. Yeah, and so you summon your anchor as well, did you say, Dom?
Yep, to have it prepared.
Okay. And so you're using the jug to make
2 gallons of mayonnaise.
Oh. Okay then.
No one suspects 2 gallons of mayonnaise.
They don't. You can throw it in their eyes.
Yeah, so I'd say a majority of the groups have have gone up. You only see maybe about 4 individuals from the other groups that are just remaining. But if that's the case, then you head up the stairs onto the balcony. It seems to be sort of like just a basic wooden structure, nothing particularly fancy about it. You know, it's got obviously a banister to stop you falling off it and such. But you sort of can see the arena from here. In fact, I will, because you guys went over on it, I will put it over to this. I'm not going to do all the movement stuff because we would literally be here for like 5 sessions. But this is what you see. It sort of appears to be like a several pillars that have been knocked over and broken, rocks scattered the area. You see sort of what looks like a sarcophagus, you know, at the southernmost point. The main thing that dominates it is a ruined watchtower. It doesn't have a second floor, but you can see it's sort of the main centerpiece of the arena. So that's what it looks like. And you can see at this point the 4 soldiers of the Firu are sort of like in position near the center. You see that 3 of them stand shoulder to shoulder, sort of going into a phalanx formation. Where you see the last one sort of taking out a crossbow and examining it. You hear the sound of a horn being blown, and the chatter goes silent. And then you hear the sound of the metal portcullis that's on the far side slowly opening. And from it, I'm going to see if I can get a picture of it. If it loads, roll 20, come on. I'll come on a session without. Nope, that's... No, it helps if I actually... There we go, now it's starting to work properly. Never mind, it's not working properly. Now it's working properly. So what it looks like is a red wolf, but the difference here is that it's standing on its hind legs. Its mouth is agape, and you actually notice that its jaw is opening much wider than a normal wolf should. It's almost like a snake-like style of like how much it's detached and such. You sort of watch as it sort of like walks forward and sort of notices the free before it suddenly sort of like roars and charges forward at them. The one that has the crossbow sort of like fires at it, and it ends up sort of deflecting off its hide. You watch as the front three sort of like brace themselves, with the middle one just saying, "Hold!" As the creature sort of like reaches up to him, they all begin to like stab simultaneously, trying to force it back as it sort of like crashes into their shield. You watch as a large gash appears on one of the shields as it sort of like takes the hit. It sort of like tries to reach over and bite into the center one, but is shoved back by the combination of the 3 of them. The crossbow wielding soldier tries to fire another 2 shots, but unfortunately, because of the angle, she's not able to get a good hit onto him. The one on the far right sort of like drops the spear and pulls out a blade and begins slashing into it, but again, it seems to not have much effect on the on its hide. The one on the far left, the soldier on the far left, begins to flank it and so like stabs it. It gets a good hit in the back, but he has to back away as the creature turns around and slashes at him. You then start to hear a faint whispering throughout, like sort of like echoing in your head. It's very minor, but you watch as one of the soldiers, the one that had first sort of like moved, his eyes go wide with fear as he runs, with the creature chasing after him. The two other soldiers that were part of the phalanx give chase, whereas the other soldier keeps, again, firing, but is not able to get a good hit on it. The soldier that was running away, stops, recomposes himself, and then turns around, getting 2 heavy slashes onto the creature's front. However, the creature retaliates with 2 slashes of their own. The 2 other soldiers that were chasing after it finally catch up and begin to surround it, begin stabbing into it. You watch as one of the soldiers that were sort of lagging behind begins to sort of mutter something. Aki, because you can lip read, it's definitely a sort of spell that he's casting, and you watch as 4 bolts sort of erupt from his fingers and hit into the side of the creature. At this point, the creature sort of stops, turns, and howls, and you watch as the sand around begins to sort of twirl and basically become small tornadoes. And when it settles, suddenly there's several wolves, 8 of them, that are now surrounding the soldiers. You watch as the soldier with the crossbow takes a shot at one of the crossbows, and it instantly dissipates. The other soldiers then begin to sort of almost put themselves back to back, but also have this creature in the middle of all of them. While they're trying to fend off the wolves, the creature sort of reaches over to the to essentially the one that he had forced to run away, and you watch as its jaw opens wider and wider than you would expect it to be. And as it lunges forward, swallows one of the soldiers in one gulp. As it sort of begins to turn around and start laying into the other soldiers, you sort of watch as the soldiers are holding their ground, but one of them gets knocked down by the wolves and started getting bit into. You then watch as the creature's stomach sort of has a slight protrusion on it. And then you watch as a blade comes out of the stomach. The creature doubles over, clutching at the wound as the wolves all vanish one by one. Just as the creature is sort of staggering there, trying to deal with this blade that's coming out of his stomach, the female soldier and the one that's not on the floor, the soldier that's not on the floor, so turn around, look at each other, prepare their blades, and begin hacking into the creature as it sort of begins to lash out, but is blocked by their various shields and armor, until eventually the creature goes still as its life ebbs away. Immediately afterwards, you see that the sword, which is continuing to be stabbing into it, is sort of cutting open the stomach from the inside, and they're able to drag out a very sticky, very, not happy, but very much alive soldier. As they pull him out and sort of adjust themselves. The crowd erupts in cheers as the soldiers have successfully won their first round. They sort of bow, salute, and begin to make their way back to the inside of the fighting pit.
Tom, that description was really fucking cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool, I just felt I felt like I was just rambling through that the entire time.
I was sitting there the whole time wow.
Great. Good to know. Good to know. I've got a lot more of these to go.
You can continue. I'm just very excited.
Okay. So there is a brief 5-10 minute sort of gap between each team's fight so that they can clean up the arena. You sort of watch as several guards pull it away. So if you want to do anything in the interim, conversation wise, you're certainly free to. If not, then obviously I can continue on to the next fight.
Nev looks to the rest of the group. How do you think he survived in there?
Yeah, you see, Aki, I guess who's there, just looks white as a fucking sheet, and terrified.
Do you think we'll get to do that? What do you think it smells like? I bet it smells really bad.
It probably smells like rotting corpses.
Ugh.
Oh no, it smells like rotting whale.
Oh no, that's even worse.
Oh, the sharks would love it though.
At this point, the soldiers have made it in, and you can hear one of them say, "God, it smells like absolute shite in there. God, can someone get me some water?" Like, you can hear him from downstairs.
Looks to Aki. He wants water. Should we give him water?
Well, don't you have that jar that makes infinite liquid?
Yeah, but it's got mayonnaise in there. I don't think he wants mayonnaise. Does he want mayonnaise?
Why would you make mayonnaise? What's the point?
Mayonnaise. I love Aki's enunciation.
Mayonnaise.
It could make us slippery. It would help with the smell. You want to throw it down there, Kinling? You want to throw mayonnaise?
Oh my god. Little beast.
Right. We could use it to slip away from our opponents. It might work.
While this is happening, the three of the soldiers, not the one that got eaten, are sort of like come up to join him. You can see some of them are bloodied, they're sort of like bruised, like a bit grimy, but they seem in high spirits. So just nod as the various members from the ghosts make their way down to prepare for their battle. Okay. So after a couple of minutes, the arena is fully cleared, and the ghosts walk onto the field themselves. They sort of... Theirs is less organized than the Firu's one. They are sort of in a line almost, but there is gaps between them. The gates open up once more, and you're expecting at this point, like, this was a pretty big creature that came through. What's next? What walks through is something that appears to be no bigger than maybe a goblin, maybe a smidge bigger. It has goblin-like ears, dark grey skin, a large bulbous nose. The unique thing you notice, though, is that where you'd expect to see two eyes, you see only a single eye. I'll just drag it over here because you guys can see. Obviously, you're looking at the fight, so you know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And you sort of like kind of watch, or the members of the ghost all like begin to look at each other. You sort of see the halfling sort of like turn around. Aki, just in the brief bit where you can see his slippery, and says, "The fuck is this?" And then you sort of watch as the creature sort of notices them and begins to quickly run, almost on all fours, like almost like a dog, almost charge towards them. So back to the battle music. One of the groups, I should have really... 1 second, I need to adjust some things so I know which one is which class. There we go. You watch as the half elf with a bow so like begin to fire at the creature. It's able to sort of hit it a few times before the creature's on it. It leaps up, putting its full weight onto the half elf, and actually knocks him down. And as it does, it sort of like screams out before it begins clawing into him. The dwarf,
Holy shit.
The dwarf, like sort of like after the initial shock, sort of like shakes his head and charges forward and smashes into him with his shoulder, and sort of like tries to underswing his hammer into the creature, but it's able to roll out of the way of the hit. You watch as the human, which you actually notice at this point, like I think I mentioned it before, but his arm's actually completely like prosthetic. You watch as he takes out a blade and begins to like slash into it. sort of like trying to reposition itself to flank it, and is able to get a hit onto its arm. You watch as the fairy send like a bolt of dark energy which hits the creature, and you watch it sort of like winces, and it's sort of like almost like its muscles tense up as it's sort of almost like it's in like pain basically. The halfling, which is roughly about the same size as this goblin-like creature, sort of like skirts around, sort of slides under the legs of the human, and sort of like stands up and stabs into the back of the goblin creature. Has to back away though before the creature's actually able to hit back at it. The half elf that had been knocked down sort of like gets himself back up, pulls out two blades, and begins sort of like slashing into it, getting a few hits in. But for the most part, this goblin creature is very agile. At this point, it sort of like steps back, readjusts itself, shakes off the whatever is affecting it from the fairy, and sort of like begins to make movements with its hand, which again for the spellcasters on there, it's very arcane in nature. You watch as a sort of dark crown begins to appear on the dwarf as he sort of like begins to seize up, sort of like reaches up at the crown and pulls it away. It sort of dissipates into some smoke, shakes. It sort of like shakes, and at this point, you watch as the goblin's eye begin to glow. And look, for a second, I'm just going to call it a goblin because it's goblin-like. And just sort of like looks over at the at the fairy, who at this point is just kind of there, like you see his eyes sort of like wince as if he's trying to avoid looking. The dwarf at this point, you see, he's sort of like breathing heavily, not in exhaustion, but just in anger. And you watch he like takes his hammer with two hands, dropping the shield, and begins to wail on this thing, hitting it several times. You watch as its arm breaks and sort of like hangs loose. The human slashes into it as well, so like hitting it around the back of its neck. Not killing it, but it's not doing too good. At this point, the fairy pulls out his bow and tries to fire a shot, but you can see he's averting his gaze for whatever reason. And as the shot sort of like misses and embeds itself sort of like about half a foot from the goblin creature's foot, you watch as the creature sort of like begin to laugh and point at the fairy, only to see the halfling sort of like, who at this point has been trying to get an angle throughout the chaos, so like steps forward, grabs it by like, essentially grabs it by its brow and eye socket, pulls back, and just slices its dagger through its throat. The creature staggers back a bit before it just falls dead. Which
Fuck me.
Apparently I'm good at describing fights. That is good to know. The team very quickly like check up on their half-elf comrade who had been clawed in. You can see from here, like the front of his armor's took the brunt of it, but you can see like bits of blood sort of like trickling from it, and they sort of like pat each other on the back and walk back into the barracks area. There's a cheer as you just kind of watch as one of the avant-gardes sort of walk forward. There's one big Goliath guy just sort of like look over at the goblin-like creature and just sort of like picks up its head like a bowling ball and carries it away as it clears the arena. Alrighty. So obviously, again, if you want any conversation, otherwise we go to the next one. Alright.
I'm just impressed.
Well, I will take that. I will take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the fuck that was too.
I mean, as I said, like on the board thing, I have put like its token on there because you know what it looks like because you can see it.
Well, yeah, but like, does it show me the name for it?
No, because you wouldn't know the name.
I have Locke would like to learn what the fuck this thing is.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah, these fights seem decently tough.
Does. Do you know what the fuck that thing is?
let me just quickly check what. I just need to quickly see where this thing is native to, which I think it's native to the material plane, if I remember correctly. I just kind of like looks at it and looks at it and says, I don't know what the fuck you're asking me for.
I don't know, you know weird shit. You're weird shit.
Yeah, but that's like your weird's not my weird.
Fair enough.
All right, so just at this point, the ambassador and entourage of Tended Earth walk onto the field. The one thing you notice is that the two goblins, the goblin and the hobgoblin that are there, are like next to each other, but they're clearly like almost like fighting each other in a way.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like how when, you know, two siblings are sort of like walking side by side, they're trying to mess with each other, like pushing and maybe like a punch in the arm kind of deal, that stuff.
Does it look playful or does it look like they hate each other?
Make an insight check.
Okay. Insight.
22.
Nice.
There's clearly a feeling of just general hatred for each other, but also kind of like an understanding that they cannot kill each other. Like they sort of like, yeah, they sort of like do that, and you see like occasionally they look back at the Loxodon with the big maul, and it's just kind of like sometimes they sort of like lessen it a bit more. There's very much it's clearly a begrudging camaraderie, basically.
Mev leans into Havelock. You want to bet they're going to rip each other's faces off during the fight?
Absolutely. My money's on the short goblin.
Alright, I'll take the big guy. 5 gold?
How about a jug of alcohol?
Fair enough.
Okay. You watch as you also like take their positions. The two goblins, even though they're not as like fighty, still like next to each other and occasionally like elbow into each other to like knock them over. The tabaxi stands right next to the Loxodon, whereas the knoll is a little bit further away, sort of like twirling its flail every now and then. As the gates open once more, the current fights have just been singular, but at this point you watch as two kobolds come out. These are second, let me just get their descriptions. These are different from your regular kobolds, whereas as normal kobolds, if it will load, whereas as normal kobolds sort of, you know, wearing rags and there we go. So like, you know, rags and have like crappy sort, you know, like sword and shields. These two have sort of like an eerie green glow on their eyes and such. You see various metal contraptions sort of like on their back, and they hold a metal staff which ends in you know, like in the cartoons, you got those whistles that are sort of like, you know, a circle with sort of like hat on, almost sort of metal hat on with a little gap where the steam comes out, like for the train whistles and such.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It looks like one of those, so I will just put it on there.
I was confused for a second. Cap, but what?
That's what I call it basically, because it kind of looks like it's wearing a little hat.
I get what you mean. Yes.
But following behind it, you see a scorpion, a large scorpion towering over anything that's here. The scorpion itself is pitch black outside of a red streak on its tail that sort of like goes all the way up to the point. So I will drag it on there. So that's what the creatures look like. And as the you sort of like watch as one of the kobolds notice the two goblins, sort of like not fully paying attention, sort of like still elbowing each other, and you just kind of watch it pulls out a glowing green flask and just tosses it at both of them. At this point, it breaks out, and you can sort of see as they sort of pull their robes over themselves to cover themselves, and you sort of watch already as parts of the fabric melt away from what you can only assume is acid. You watch as the which one is it? As the gnoll charge forward towards the other kobold and sort of like slam into it with his weapon. Actually, no, it's not a flail that he's got. It's a longsword. The flail's a fighter. My mistake. I've got too many notes. You watch as the goblin sort of like brings out a green energy. It sort of shapes itself into a similar flask as the one the kobold threw, and he just throws it at the kobold. It splashes, and the kobold just sort of like looks at the acid and just looks back at the goblin. It definitely looks like he took the hit, but he seems to not really be too phased with it. The tabaxi charges forward to join the gnoll, slamming into it hard with the flail. You actually watch as part of the sort of like metal goggles that it's wearing just get knocked clean off and mangled from the hit. The Loxodon then begins to like walk forward slowly, and then goes into a slight jog and then a run. She pulls back on the on the maul, and when it looks like she's about to swing it, she instead like essentially shoulder checks the kobold, knocking him to the ground, stops, lets some momentum swing the maul, and crushes it down on the kobold's head, instantly killing it. She sort of like steps back and sort of like eyes the large scorpion as a hobgoblin at this point sort of like begins to rub his hands together, almost like he's cold. And you watch as the hands erupt in fire as he casts a cone of fire towards the kobold, who this time actually sort of like takes some cover. As the mages are still fighting, you watch as the scorpion charges forward and begins to attack at the fighter. So like attacking with the claws and the the claws and the stinger. The tabaxi is able to block the claw attacks, but the second hit sort of like knocks her guard away as the stinger hits directly into her chest. She's able to pull it out before the poison is able to get a good hit on it, but she's looking hurt at this point. The other kobold alchemist actually like runs forward, pulls out a dagger, and begins to stab into the hobgoblin as the goblin is actually just laughing. So like pointing, laughing until he sort of realizes the severity of the situation and shuts up pretty much. The gnoll even sort of like leaps up on towards the scorpion's back and begins sort of like slashing at the tail, but it gets sort of like knocked off instantly and readjusts himself. The goblin then points a finger at the kobold. You watch as a sickly green ray hits the kobold. You just watch as the kobold slowly turn around, seemingly unaffected by the hit. To which, again, Aki, because you can lip read, you see the goblin say, "That's not fair." The gnoll at this point sort of run. Oh wait, no, I skipped a spot. Whoops. You watch as the Loxodon sort of like steps forward to the scorpion, sort of like announcing her presence, as she swings down at one of the claws. You actually watch. You hear an audible crack from the impact, and sort of watch as the right claw appears to be. There's a flag. Sorry. As the claw hangs useless, seemingly broken. The Luxon then hits again at the carapace, but it seems to absorb most of the impact in regards to it. The Tabaxi then follows up and begins to like slashing at the armored carapace of the scorpion. The hobgoblin throws another seemingly flask of acid, which wait a second, and it just about hits the kobold, who's able to sort of like roll out the way for the most part. The scorpion, very pissed that it's had its claws broken, begins to sort of like wail into the Loxodon. The scorpion, the tail doesn't find purchase, but it does like sort of like hit the claw, so like grasps into the side as she just reaches down and so like forces the claw out and throws it away, and throws it off her. The alchemist, thoroughly fed up with this hobgoblin at this point, so like stabs into the hobgoblin's stomach, and as he falls down, seemingly unconscious, he watches hobgoblin raises its dagger up and stabs down into the hobgoblin again. Hobgoblin still appears to be alive, but is not doing well. At this point, the gnoll sort of like runs past the scorpion, who tries to make a stab but misses. And you see like the gnoll's hands are beginning to radiate in divine energy. The goblin at this point runs forward and grabs a hobgoblin and drags it over to the gnoll, who instantly like places his hand down and brings a hobgoblin back from the brink, essentially. At this point, did I say something there? No, I'm just hearing something. At this point, it boils down to the Loxodon and the Tabaxi dueling with the Scorpion, which is getting some good hits in, but is slowly so like being beaten back. The hobgoblin stands up, so like brush itself off, begins to... What languages do you know, Aki? Aki?
Hello. I know a grand total of... I do know Goblin.
Okay. So, again, you can't quite hear it, but because of your lip reading, I did not know you knew Goblin.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that you knew Goblin. It is a very... it is full of a lot of swears which you don't understand, but you would imagine if you were a goblin, they would be incredibly offensive.
Right. Yeah.
And as he's just like sort of like screaming at the kobold, he sort of like, you watch his breath appear, begins to appear, which is odd given how warm it is. And then he just like, he spits, and as he does, you see it sort of like form into a spell which you actually are familiar with, Aki. An ice knife.
Hell yeah.
It sort of like misses the kobold, however, and explodes outwards, showering it in ice. At this point, you just like, you watch the kobold like break off a bit of ice that's embedded itself in the into his face, and it's looking not very happy. The gnoll at this point charges forward and begins to like slashing into the kobold, driving him back until essentially you watch as the goblin sort of like three of its fingers erupt into flame as 3 firebolts fly into towards Kobold. 2 of them miss, but the last one actually gets a pretty heavy hit by hitting the Kobold directly in its mouth. At this point, you see like the Tabaxi and the Loxodon sort of like arguing until the Tabaxi sort of like slumps her shoulders, runs past the Scorpion to help fight the Kobold that is taking on 4 of them at this point, as the Loxodon is taking on the Scorpion solo. With 4 versus 1, unfortunately, the Kobold is sort of on the back foot. It takes several hits to his torso until finally the Hobgoblin that actually got knocked down hits him with a sort of ray of frost. You watch its body sort of like freeze up. The Hobgoblin just walks forward and just shoves the body to the side as parts of it break off. They turn to prepare to fight against the Scorpion until they watch as the Loxodon sort of like swings in like directly down on the top of its carapace. You watch as the Scorpion sort of like shakes, almost like stunned, and then he swings again breaking through the carapace and sort of like embedding itself partly in, and she just keeps swinging and swinging. Even when the scorpion is long past, she keeps swinging until eventually there's an eruption of sand as it finishes going clear through the head. At this point, she just like breathes for lifting the mole up and just resting it on his shoulder, watching everyone else just sort of get their bearings. Till eventually there's like a bit of silence before the crowd cheers up again. They sort of like wave and make their way back into the barracks. Yes, that was a long fight as well, when they actually did the fight. Alright. Yeah, that's one way you can put it. By all means, talk among yourselves while I describe these fights.
They are really aggressive, aren't they? Do you think she's actually done? Do you think she will come back?
I don't know. You think we're gonna die?
I think we'll be fine.
I wonder what it's like to die.
Mev like looks at Havelock like, what?
Say something weird?
Mev chooses to ignore Havelock and looks to Kindling. Do you... is this the first time you've seen a tabaxi in a long time? I figured that they were quite common. I mean, we did... are those big catmen tabaxi? Oh my god. You're joking, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have to make sure what I have to
Eddie.
react to. Mev, like, seems to be thinking about something. And she looks to you, Kindling. You know, you aren't built like those really big guys. You know, the big catmen. Are those tabaxi? Or is it like, you know, kind of like when you have like leopards and cheetahs?
You conversing guys, just gotta be right back for a quick second. Don't mind me.
Yep. Yeah, the Leonin. She's asking, like, are you a subspecies? Are you guys the same, just built different? No, she's asking about the Leonin. You are correct in your assumption. Well, I thought that you would know since you're a tabaxi. Interesting. Okay. Mev just kind of like shrugs. She's satisfied with this.
Okay. So, as conversation's happening, several of the entourage of the Tended Earth Ambassador come up and just sort of like continue watching the fight. The gnomes and the Loxodon are nowhere to be seen. I mean the goblins and the Lockstone. Sorry, don't know why my brain went to gnomes. They're smaller.
Yeah.
Whatever, they're all
Alright.
short.
How do they look though? Because that battle seemed pretty charged.
The knoll and the tabaxi look much better. Then again, they avoided most of the basically most of the hits. The you can see it, the tabaxi sort of like has a gash on her chest where the sting crit hit her. But she seems mostly okay. A little bit obviously tired from the adrenaline leaving her system, but overall, she seems fine-ish.
Okay.
Okay. So, at this point, the various mercenaries make their way on there. You see at this point, their position is, again, sort of almost sort of like a line, again, not super organized and such. You see that the two Trollkin, however, are, right next to each other and a little bit further away from everyone else. The portcullises rise up once more, and this time you see a mass of things sort of like shambling in. You've heard stories of the undead, and so that's what you instantly think of when you think of shambling, like, massive things. But these, as they walk in, appear to not be zombies. They seem more fungal. And
Fun.
and you watch as these 8 of these, like, fungus-like creatures sort of, like, walk forward. And the soldiers, the mercenaries sort of, like, look over. At this point, you watch as the human sort of, like, shrug his shoulders and pulls out his crossbow and fires directly just into the mass of things that are there as they begin to sort of like make their way forward. The the trollkin, the male trollkin, so like steps in front of the female one, so like raises up his two-hander and so like seems to get himself ready for the onslaught that's about to begin. So I got so many notes on here that it's kind of difficult to keep a hold on everything here. You watch as the Triton sort of like steps to the side as well, so almost like in a flanking position, but still close enough that he can retreat if need be. Essentially, there's a lot of preparation going on at the moment. You watch as the fungal creatures sort of like head forward, and you watch as the fungal creatures come up to the Triton, who at this point you notice, compared to the this one appears to have an ego problem, as he's sort of like swirling a rapier around, and you can tell, you can sort of faintly hear him yelling insults and taunting them as they come forward. As the creatures get forward, you see they begin to emit these sort of, you see almost like a cloud go around them, and you watch as the Triton sort of like breathe, sort of like laughs, and as he breathes in, you watch as some of this cloud goes in as he begins coughing and hacking, whereas those that those that are about to get hit by it, basically the male trollkin and such, so like are able to cover their mouth to prepare. At this point, you watch as the Dragonborn sort of like runs forward towards the crowd and punches, like literally punches, one of the creatures. As you do, you see like an arc of electricity go through its body, and the creature like seizes up slightly. The human drops his crossbow, pulls out his sword, and begins to walk forward. So like essentially like trying to keep a line held between himself, the Dragonborn, and the male trollkin, as the female trollkin begins to like flank with the male trollkin, knocking like essentially like wailing it on them one at a time. As this is happening though, the The Triton's trying to defend himself, but is being attacked by 3 of these creatures. So, like, driving him back, and he's more focused on trying to clear his lungs out of whatever it is that he's, he inhales. The Trollkin, so, like, slashes into the side of one of the fungal creatures, and actually, like, cuts it in half. Struggling a little bit because he's keeping his mouth covered to avoid the, whatever it is that's being emitted. At this point, the human male is being wailed on by another 2 people. This one's a bit difficult because a lot of things going on at once. One second, my brain's also dying on me. So let me just... Blah. Okay. So the Trollkin, the male Trollkin, sort of like breaks off, dragging 2 of the fungal creatures towards him as he sort of gets in a position with his back against the ruined watchtower wall and sort of puts himself in a defensive stance, preparing for these 2 creatures. At this point, only 2 of the fungal creatures have fallen, and the female Trollkin is sort of repositioning herself to get towards the Triton, who gets knocked down onto the ground and is essentially being pummeled by these creatures as he's trying to defend himself. The Dragonborn is sort of continues to punch at this one fungal creature, constantly, seemingly stunning it almost. This is not an organized form of punching. This is more like barroom, pub punching, tavern brawl punching. That's the word I was looking for. But the one thing that is notable is that each hit seems to like have Havelock punching. That's the easiest way to put it. So this Dragonborn is essentially like this fungal creature is all to himself. Meanwhile, one of the fungal creatures that's wailing on the Triton sort of like turns around and begins heading towards the Dragonborn. You watch as the Triton, who's like been stabbing out at these creatures, like the sword drops as he falls unconscious. The human noticing this, so like slashes at it, hits creature, killing it, and pulls out a dagger and flings it. You watch it, so like goes through the air and hits the creature in the back of the head? Question mark? Which gets its attention as it begins to like shambling off towards the human. The female Trollkin at this point has been able to reposition herself in a way that she sort of is able to stab into the remaining fungal creature that's attacking the Triton before sort of like reaching down, and you watch as you assume divine energy go from her hand into the Triton, and you watch his eyes just open. He's just sort of like is breathing and looking around. But the female Trollkin doesn't pay much more mind and turns to continue fighting the fungal creature. The male Trollkin at this point, you can see, even though it's not like, slashing and such, you can see like several bruises are starting to appear on his face and such as he's been taking the hits. But one of the fungal creatures is dead at this point and is fighting more readily against this next one. At this point, the human is fighting two of the fungal creatures at once. So like twirls his sword, breathes, and then slashes into the one that had turned around to fight him. So like bisecting. That's horizontally, isn't it? There's horizontal, yeah. Yeah. Either way, cuts it horizontally. As he does, like the other creature sort of like grabs him by the shoulder and begins to like squeeze on it. You sort of see him like wince. He twirls the sword around, so he's reverse gripping it and stabs it into the creature's stomach, slashing it open. No guts come out, given what it's made of, but that is able to go down as well. The human sort of like staggers back, so like checks his shoulder, breathes, and so like pulls out another dagger, looking for another opponent. The Dragonborn, who had nothing exciting happen when I simulated the fight. He just kept punching the shit out of this fungal creature. Eventually, like, beats it down, breathes, and just, like, brings his hand up in celebration, and then realizes that the fight's still going. It's just there, like, yeah, oh, right. At this point, the Triton sort of, like, stands up, brushes himself off, sees the final fungal creature fighting the male trollkin, and just, like, runs forward, taps it on its shoulder, and when it doesn't react, he's just there, like, and stabs into its back, killing it. Again, this is a very messy fight, so it's hard to describe it, especially when my notes are literally just what happens in the fight, and I have to improv it, so I apologize if that seems a bit more messy, but, you know, eventually, they sort of, like, calm down, catch their breath, the Tritons helped back up, and he sort of, like, limps back in. You watch as the human sort of, like, picks up the various bolts and daggers that he had thrown and sort of, like, puts them back onto his blade pouch, and they all walk back in as the cleanup operation begins for these. So, is there anything that you wish to do, because your fight is next?
Oh, man.
I know you've been enjoying me narrating, basically me playing with my toys, but you guys are a part of this campaign as well, so
play with your dolls, Thomas.
Man.
What has been the general crowd perception? Like, how are they feeling? How do they look?
They've been very excited. There's been a lot of, like, ooh, when there's been, like, heavy hits, like when they've actually got stabbed in the chest, or when the cold, like, specifically with, like, the tender ones, because theirs were the most, I guess, brutal of them all.
Yeah, most violent.
Yeah, like, there was a lot of oohs and ahs, and there was a few screams when the hobgoblin got stabbed while it was on the ground. It's generally been, like, just overall excitement. Like, they've been very, like, they've been enjoying this fight, the helpings that they've got.
Okay.
But yeah, is there anything that you guys wish to do, or any preparations you wish to make in the...
Yeah, and you guys have any, I don't know, fucking buffs you want to put on? I don't know.
Yeah, you have about 5 minutes before your fight, so if there's anything that you wish to do...
I literally can't do anything.
Yeah,
Just
fighter.
checking.
Yeah. My buff is anger. I love that.
I got nothing.
I
You
don't
guys all good?
anything to do.
Got your fucking jar of mayo?
Yeah, we got our fucking jar of mayo.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness.
And I think,
Listen, it might come in handy. Maybe our opponent's gonna be hungry.
and obviously Ed's just quickly looking to see what he can do, if he can do anything.
Yeah, I'm looking. Pretty much. None of mine have, like, casting time. It's instantaneous.
Alright.
Let's touch creature.
And keep in mind, between fights, you have an hour rest. So you have a short rest worth of time.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be good to remember, so, don't waste all of your spell slots in one go.
Yeah.
It's a
Unless you're a
free round fight.
warlock.
Unless you're a warlock.
Yeah.
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 I was gonna say, don't forget kindling. We can cook things for the party with a short rest time.
You can, yeah.
So we can, let's see.
This is really going to be like major action economy going on.
Yep.
We can regain 1d8 HP with our stuff, so if we're gonna cook things.
Okay, no preparations then? Alright. So, if that's the case...
Aw, I'm scared, y'all.
You all walk into the arena. You can see at this point that the ground is caked with various, visceral fluids from the battles before. Lots of blood, especially. But what I will do is I will drag everyone here. So basically, anything, on your side is where you can position yourselves.
Can I don't have my mouse working right now. Can I be placed, like, behind this rubble over here?
You mean behind this? Just whoops. One sec, I gotta move these to the map layer. I forgot to do that.
Well, Tom deleted my cover. But yes.
Okay, give me a second. I just need to shift these to their respect.
Is this like an actual building, or is it just like a platform?
It's an actual building, but it's only one floor.
Okay.
So it's only the floor that you can see. So you would have cover from, anything where the wall is.
Okay.
Oops. Alright.
Okay, what we're doing?
So you want to be, like, around here, Anna?
3 right, 1 down.
3 right, 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 1.
Perfect.
I'll be right here in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna fucking charge at everything, so.
Yep, so... Oh, no, too far, Ed.
Oh.
Fucking excuse you.
get back in line, piss ball.
Yeah.
Yes, basically
Who
any
do you think you are?
anything
Yeah, okay, I'll be back here.
like the limit is basically where this rock is, pretty much. Okay. So you sort of prepare yourselves. You watch as the portcullis, which is over here, opens up, and you can see 3 figures come through. One walking on 2 legs and the other's walking on 4. So the first thing you see is a gnoll. This one definitely more grizzled, wearing like certain bits of armor. He has 2 leashes, which are pulling behind it the 2 four-legged creatures. They look like bears. But then you notice that their head is not of a bear.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's that of an owl. You've heard of owlbears before.
It's Gar's worst nightmare.
It is Gar's worst nightmare. We have to tame one. Is that possible? Can we just take it for ourselves and win? Does that count?
I will remain silent because that's
Guys,
it's
we
funny
have
that way.
we have to claim an owl bear.
I'm just gonna quickly move a few things here.
I agree with this decision.
I have rope.
So
We have Ed.
the gnoll walks forward here and
You
sort of
have
like drops. He drops the leashes, and the gnoll sort of like looks at you all, points, and just howls as the owlbears sort of like their eyes lock onto you all as they charge forward. I need you all to roll initiative.
I'm gonna tame those fucking owl bears if it's the last thing I do.
It will be the last thing you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not gonna go well. Where am I?
Woo!
Thomas?
Best initiative.
Never mind. I fixed it myself.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll initiative. There you go.
I declare a fun war. There is a... Oh, I've got that upside down. That's why I couldn't read it. Wow, that's... Nobody's having the best rolls, it seems. Not even these guys. You know what? There's only 3 of them, so
It's fine.
There's only 3 of them, so I'll just do the 2 ones separately. Okay, well this one rolled good. And this one rolled terribly.
We're all a little intimidated by the cuteness, okay?
So I think that's everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Get
5.
with
Yep.
you.
Okay. So, top of the round.
Mhm.
This owlbear, how far can these things go? Okay. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It's going to just lumber up to the thing that is closest to it, which is you, Marine, and it's going to make its 2 attacks. So,
Hit me.
yeah, it's probably going to hit. That was a natural 19. So that's a 26 total.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay, and its second hit is a... That also might hit. That's a 16.
Doesn't hit.
Doesn't hit? Nice.
Barely.
What's
Thank you. Thank you, integrated protection.
your AC 17, ain't it?
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Well, you do get hit by its beak attack, so you take 13 points of piercing damage. As the owlbear sort of like claws into you, sort of like knocking you off balance, and it thrusts its beak into a sort of like kinking your armor, digging it, so like thrashes its head to try and like rip the armor off, but all it does is dislodge its beak. Right. Havok, you're up.
Alright. I'm gonna send Dawes high into the sky.
Okay, in imp form, I assume?
Yes. I would like him to scout around this boy, if he can get over there. If not, as close as he can get.
Yeah, you can get fairly high up.
Perfect. I want him to stay out of attacking range.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to try and lightning lure our fuzzy little friend right here.
Okay. That's a strength save. That's not a d20. He fails.
Awesome. I forgot what lightning lure does. It hasn't hit yet.
Dom, you're staticking.
Wait, I am.
Yeah.
He's pulled
Oh.
10 feet towards me, and then he takes 10 lightning damage, apparently.
You do need to move 5 feet closer to it. It's 15 feet range.
Boop.
There we go. And so he's moved how many feet?
10.
5. 5. Actually, no, that would be 10, wouldn't it? One sec. He was there. 5, 10. Yeah, there we go.
We got this, guys! And I end my turn.
Okay. Marine, you're up.
Alright, so... I'm going to first try and hit... No, wait. First, I'll bonus action to use one of my new spells.
Mhm.
Spirit Shroud.
Okay. Any attack you make deals 1
You know what?
damage when you hit a creature within 10 feet of you. Radiant, necrotic, or cold. Your choice when you cast the spell. Okay.
I'm feeling cold damage.
Really fair.
Okay.
And next, I'm about to take my 2 swings.
Alrighty. That misses.
Okay.
That hits. So that's 3, 6, that's 9 points of damage.
About that,
Yeah.
I smite.
Okay, well, so you can... Oh, okay. Warlocks can be
Yep.
budget paladins, it seems.
Eldritch Smite.
Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your pack weapon, you can expend a Warlock spell slot to deal an extra d8 force damage to the target, plus another d8 per level.
Oh,
of
and
the
I
spell
also...
slot.
Oh, and also an extra d8 cold damage from Spirit Shroud.
Okay,
I
well,
almost forgot that.
you still need to roll those extra d8s, my guy.
Okay. And then if I'm doing the math correct, because it's 1d8 plus 1d8 per level. That's 48 in total. And that was
Ooh.
terrible, but hey, it's knocked prone.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is. It doesn't need to make a strength save or anything. Okay.
Nope.
So yep. So this that owlbear is knocked prone.
Hell yeah.
And is that your turn?
Yep, because Spirit Shard was bonus action.
Yeah. I just realized that means you've burned through all your spell slots. Jeez. Oh, that's the thing. You got Warlocks only have 2 leveled spell casts, don't they?
Yeah, unless you're like a fucking sorcerer mix.
Yeah. Okay. Akris, your turn. Go for it, Aki.
Okay. 1 second. Let me check something. 60 feet. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna ask a really rookie spellcaster question.
Yes.
While I'm concentrating on casting one spell, I can't cast any others, can I?
No.
Okay.
You can only cast 1 spell at a time.
Okay. Okay.
The general rule that I have, which is basically copying Matt Mercer's, is you can use a leveled spell and a cantrip in the same turn.
Okay.
But you can't use like 2 leveled spells if you decide to.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what material is the metal that the Knoll's wearing?
It just appears. Let me just have a quick look. It should say, it's a chain shirt.
Okay. I'm guessing Mel is an action. Yeah.
What you doing, Aki?
Fuck it. Am I in range?
I don't know. Are you in range?
I'm gonna see that nice shiny shirt of the of what's his face
Mm-hmm.
of the Knoll, and I am going to very very casually set him on fire.
With what spell?
He metal.
Okay. Any physical
Okay.
creature,
Do
any creature within physical
wanna wait?
contact, take 2d8 fire damage.
Yeah, and then any creature. Yeah. Until the spell ends, you use a bonus action on each of your subsequent turns to cause the creature damage again. If the creature is holding or wearing the object and takes damage from it, the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or drop the object if it can. If it doesn't drop the object, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and an ability check until the start of their next turn.
Okay, so it needs to make a con save.
Yeah.
Because there's no way it can take off a chain shirt very quickly.
Yeah.
That is a 12, so it fails.
Excellent.
So it has disadvantage on its attacks until its next turn.
Yeah. And it takes 10 damage.
Yep.
10 fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then, until then, I think I'm going to just come up behind these lot and, yeah, just ready myself in case we get fucked up by an owlbear.
Okay. Kindling, you're up. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, it is prone at the moment, so you do have advantage on any hits. Is the weapon you're using a two-handed weapon? Like, if it's a weapon that requires 2 hands, I would say no. Oh, you're using it one-handed? Yeah, you can do that. Unraged. Okay. So as I say, you get advantage on your hits. Wow, yeah, all 3 hit. Jeez. So that's 5. That's... So first I'll do this. So that's 11 damage from that. Oh, that's looking pretty rough. And then this one... yeah, because offhand attack, it just uses the rolls. That's an extra 1 point of damage. Okay. It is now the Pack Lord's turn. Okay. So I just need to quickly double check what this guy can do. If it has... Ah, dang. Dangarang, it doesn't have what I think it does. Nope, okay. Well, that's one thing that's useless. Okay, so he's gonna... And 15... 20... He's gonna go for the small one.
I wonder what burning... I wonder what, like, singed knoll smells like.
Whatever singed fur smells like, probably. Okay, and so this guy is gonna make a... Yeah, he's gonna make 2 glaive attacks on Mevalair.
Ooh, me?
Yep. So that's a
I
miss.
can't believe you would do that.
And that's a miss. The disadvantage is really fucking with him already.
Wow.
God, Mev, don't sound too happy to get hit.
I'm always happy to get hit. Beat me the fuck up.
And unfortunately, yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot on him, so he can't do anything. So I will. So that is the end of the Knoll's turn. He couldn't do shit. All right, Mev, you're up.
Awesome. No, that wasn't very polite of you. Let me show you how it's done. And Mev's going to do 2 attacks on him.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
Both hit. So let's see. So that's 6. That's 12. That's 15 for the 15 for the first hit plus 4. So that's 19 total.
Mevalair immediately just beats his ass.
Yeah, you sort of like cleave into the metal, which with heat metal is a bit more malleable. It's still like able to keep its form enough, but like you sort of like pull away and you can see a very clear dent on the chain shirt. And so like the next one you sort of like stab into his leg and sort of like twist slightly. He's looking hurt, but he's still standing.
Alright, as I'm attacking him, I'm just gonna sweep around to the other side. If the owlbear hits me, that's fine.
Yes, the owlbear will make an attack, has disadvantage because it's prone. Oh, it rolled good on both of them, though. 22 to hit.
Oh, jeez.
He rolled,
yeah,
he
that
ro-
hits.
He rolled a 15 and an 18.
That's really good.
Yeah. You take 10 points of piercing damage.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, like, it sort of, like, digs its beak into your calf, and you sort of, like, pull it, like, you sort of pull your leg off it.
Fuck me. Yeah, that hurt.
This is what you get when you say you want to get hit.
Yeah, if that's what I want, fucking hit me more. But, yeah, that will end my turn for now, because I want to conserve resources.
Okay, it's the other owlbear. So this one, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. It can just make it. And because...
Does that not count as rough terrain?
No, it's broken rubble.
But it's huge.
This is a large creature.
I'm I'm saying both of these things are really large. I'm just asking, like.
Yeah, it's literally side. Like these, like even though they're rubble and such, you can like vault over them. It's like you can make an action. You can like hide behind them, but it's like
Mhm.
like if you were to like sit down and have your back to it, your head would still be exposed, kind of deal.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, like these are nearly as tall as you. This one, like you can crouch down, and obviously this is the watchtower. So,
Okay.
like these aren't considered rough terrain, but they can provide cover should you decide to.
All right.
If that
Got
makes
it.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I should have clarified that to begin with. That was my fault.
All right. Makes sense to me. Go ahead. Beat me up.
Okay, let's see. And he has advantage because of the Pack Lord. Oh, really? Oh, really? You're gonna roll that bad? Okay, no, that's definitely a miss. I'm not even gonna bother asking. Okay, that one might hit. Does 19 hit?
Yep, that hits.
Okay, so this is the claw attack. There they are. Really? Oh, that is that really? This guy's not rolling very good. But even then, you take 9 points of slashing damage. And it sort of like
Okay.
tries to bite into you, but the it sort of bumps into the rock, missing itself, and as it sort of like adjusts itself, it swings up its hand and sort of like almost slaps you nearly. But you're able to sort of like shy away as it sort of like digs into your arm and claws upwards. So it is now the other owlbear's turn. So the owlbear is going to stand up. I'm just going to roll. Actually, Marine, Kindling, and Havelock. Roll a d20 for me. Okay, he's going for Havelock. So it's going to make its 2 attacks onto Havelock. That is a natural 20 on the first hit.
Ow.
And that is a 14 on the second hit.
Miss.
Miss, okay. You take... One second, I need to math this. You take 21 points of piercing damage.
Whoa. Holy fuck. Okay.
As it sort of like... It sort of like hits the ground, so like causing an explosion of sand. You sort of like cover your eyes to avoid getting blinded, and as you sort of like open your eyes a small bit, you see the beak sort of like hit into your clavicle and sort of like bite down hard.
Can I do a free action?
Sure. What do you do for your free action?
Pet its face.
You're gonna make a cut on its face?
Pet, pet, pet.
Oh.
Just give it a pat.
Okay. Yes?
Did the gnoll take off his shirt?
No.
Right, so those rolls should have been with disadvantage.
Yeah. It's the owlbear's turn, not the gnoll's turn.
Oh, I thought it was the gnoll's turn.
No, that was the owlbear's turn. The gnoll already did his rolls and missed entirely.
Okay, apologies.
It's fine.
Sorry.
It sort of like pulls you sort of like tug away. You feel like it almost hooks onto your actual like clavicle, but it's able to just just pull it off as it sort of like prepares itself, looking at you, getting ready to continue on with the fight. Speaking of, it's your turn.
I would like to shamble my way over here.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to attack with Liamar.
Mm-hmm.
And that is with advantage.
Yep, because it's flanked.
Oop.
Misses.
I would like to disengage. As a bone. No, wait, I can't. I'm not a rogue.
You're not a
Fuck.
rogue.
Damn it.
Wrong game.
I'll tell Dawes to come over here and fucking help.
Okay, yeah, he uses his movement, but yeah.
The song brings back memories.
The good memories. I will end there.
Okay. Marine, you're up.
It's time to bonk this repeatedly.
Okay, I assume it's the owlbear that you're. Is it the owlbear or the gnoll you're attacking?
The owl bear.
The owlbear. Okay.
Null Sharky can. Null Sharky's fine for now.
Yeah. Ho ho ho. Oh, okay. So that
Yeah,
is.
boy.
Let me see. That's 3. That's 1 second. 1 second. That's 9, 3, 9. That's 12. That's 15. That's no. That's a dead owlbear.
I didn't even need to roll the shroud.
No, that's just the raw damage itself. So you sort of like swing the hammer down onto its right leg. You hit its front right leg. You hit you hear an audible crack as you watch as its joint sort of like pops out almost. It sort of like screeches, turns to go and bite into you, and as you do, you sort of like already prepared and essentially baseball swing it into its mouth. You see like the front of the beak actually like cracks off, and the face partially caves in. And as you sort of like pull away, you can see like a slight like parts of its what's left of its face has got like a slight sort of like frosty sheen over it from your genie's wrath. Yeah, that's a fucking dead owlbear if I ever saw one. It's not taking 2 d20s in a row. Not with its health.
Holy shit.
Okay.
I'm just going to look at the null next.
Okay.
And that's a turn.
Aki, you're up.
Right. Okay. Hold on. Let me check. Did heat metal is heat metal concentration? Oh,
Yes,
it
it is.
concentration. In that case, I will.
So you can cast another
use
spell.
my
So
bonus action.
yeah, so you can cast another spell so long as the duration isn't a concentration duration.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, duration up to 1 minute, and does say you can until the spell ends. You can use a bonus action on each of your subsequent turns to cause this damage again.
Mm-hmm.
So do I roll the 2d8 or is it the same 10 damage as before?
Roll the d8 and he'll make another con save.
Alright.
No, that's no, that's a 7. Yeah, but you want to make it anyway. 1, 7. It's a fail either way.
So he's still
He
got
still has disadvantage, yes.
Because he can't take off a shirt.
Nope, not unless he's got like, I think it's medium armor, so a minute.
There we go. He takes 8 damage.
Which would be an entire 10 rounds.
Yeah. So he's just, it's basically a case of fuck it, I'll deal with the disadvantage.
Okay. It's what subsequent. I am to please. And then what else can I do with myself? I make a nice cup of tea.
Yeah. So you still got your action.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my action, because I'm still concentrating on the old making his chest burn.
Yeah, but if any of your spells doesn't have concentration on it, you can use those spells.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if
That's handy.
the spell duration says concentration, then you can cast a spell, but then you would lose concentration of heat metal. If a spell doesn't have concentration on it, you can just cast a spell.
Okay, that's fun. The only spells I have that don't have concentration are Cure Wounds and Revivify.
Whoops.
I mean, some people are really hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
If you'd like to use another spell.
Yeah, I will. Okay, so who's fucked up? Who's visibly fucked?
Yeah, Havelock.
Havelock and me, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
those hits have been pretty heavy
Your
on you.
partners are fucked up.
I'd say Havelock's probably worse than me, but I am at half health.
Oof.
Like, exactly half health.
Bollocks. Okay, 1 second. I need to check something. Bomb or Summer Core. Ah, it's bonus action. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've only got 1 bonus action, haven't I?
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure Cure Wounds is touch. Oh, that shit.
I mean, you can... Oh, sec. 5, 10, 15, 20. You can get to any of them with your movement.
I know, but then I'll be in danger, you see.
Well, it'll be in danger for this one.
Yeah, but if I go, like, here... Oh, no. Can this guy hit me?
Technically, that'd be considered half cover. So they could hit you, but have a harder time.
Okay.
So it's having to essentially reach around the cover.
I'll go here.
Okay, I'll say you go, like, this way.
Yeah.
So the knoll
Then
doesn't get...
I'm just gonna give Havelock a cheeky little back rub.
Aw, thanks, babe.
It's alright, darling.
A one-handed back rub, because he's just, like, holding his hand out with the other one, keeping the heat metal on.
Pretty much. Yeah, neither one of them.
Good thing he didn't accidentally heat metal me. I'm wearing a shirt too.
Have your 6 hit points. Enjoy.
Quick, roll to remember which one is your left and your right hand.
Oh, fuck you. You said 6 points?
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's alright. I'm just checking. I haven't. Yep. Still rocking and rolling. Okay. Yeah. D8 plus my spell casting.
Yeah, that's why, because you roll a 1. Ooh, that's unfortunate. The ones are rolling
Yeah,
pretty
my
crazy here.
my spell casting is 5, so I rolled a 1.
Yeah, that's... Oof.
Pain! So
Okay.
much of it.
Yeah. Okay. So, is that your turn? Yes, no, maybe so.
How much movements have I got left?
So you were here, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You got 5 feet of movement.
Ooh, how fun! No, I'll stay. No, I'll stay here because the owlbear's gonna block in the path. I'll stay here next to.
Well, that owlbear's fucking dead.
I know, but he's a chunky boy, so he's taking up this much space.
Okay. Kindlin, you're up. Yeah, it's rough terrain with a large creature dead like that. Especially, again, fucking owlbear. Move on over to the right. Okay, flanking the knoll. Raised because of valid reason now. Okay. With them all. Gotcha. Go ahead and roll your attacks. You got advantage because flanked.
What's your valid reason, Kindling?
Let's see.
He's breathing, I'm guessing.
Oh, jeez, that's... Another one. The damage rolls are the ones that seem to be all the ones happening. So that is 10. That is... Yeah, that'll do it. So you sort of, like... You swing into its right arm as the knoll, like, sort of prepares to attack Mev again. And it sort of, like, turns around, and as it does, you sort of... It sort of, like, tries to cover its face, and instead you hit it right in the stomach, and you hear a... And you watch as the front of its body just collapses forward as you severed his spine from the impact. And probably ruptured several internal organs as well.
Delicious.
That was so cool.
Yeah, so that's a fucking dead knoll. It took the first hit like a champ, but there's no way it's gonna deal the max damage hit with the health it had. Okay, yeah, it's a normal sized creature, so it isn't rough terrain. You can just kind of step over it. Okay. No, the Null Pack Lord's fucking dead, so off he goes. That
Hello.
Owlbear's dead, so that can go. Alright, Mev, you're up.
Oh, 1 second. Mev is going to go ahead and try to hit with her glaive again for this fucking owlbear.
Okay.
If I don't have to use my resources, I won't.
First one misses, second one
Okay.
hits.
Okay, I can live with that. It's 8 slashing.
Okay.
Why is that?
Why would they be with advantage? Oh! Okay, well that's
okay.
that's the first. So we'll say that was your first hit. So that was a hit, and go ahead and go again.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll go with the bigger one. So we'll go with the 10.
Nice, thanks, Kindling.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah. So with the way it works, I know it rolls the damage and such. But what we'll do is the highest roll that you get on advantage will use the damage from that highest roll.
Okay.
Rather than being like, oh, well, can I do this one instead? It's like, no, we'll just go with whichever rolled the highest. We'll go with the damage on that one, even if it's a 1. And you roll...
I'm sorry, Tom. You cut out.
Oh, I just said, because you know, like how when you roll the attacks, it automatically rolls the damage.
Yeah.
We'll what you call it? We'll just do the. Oh wait, no. If you rolled with advantage, then it would have done. It's fine, whatever. If it happens like this, we'll do the highest roll and the damage from that highest roll.
Yep.
Otherwise, obviously, if you roll advantage, it'll sort itself. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, is that your turn?
Yeah, because I'm not using my resources. We have a bunch of fights to do.
Okay, it is in the owlbear's turn, and you know what? It's got 2 targets in front of him, so he's going to target the 2 of them separately. So the first one's going to be onto Kindling. That is a miss. I'm not even going to bother with that one, unless Kindling is your AC 11. Probably not. Okay, and then the second one is going to be onto Mev, and why does that one be the one that hits? That is that's another 22.
Oh, yay. Okay.
You take... Oh, that's actually good rolls. I'm sorry, Peach. That's 19 points of slashing damage.
Oh, okay.
And that's its turn.
Yeah, no, you just watch Mev get fucking slashed in the fucking face, and she looks rough.
Yeah,
There's just blood pouring out from her wounds.
Yeah, the owlbear sort of like lunges forward at you, Kindling, so like tries to bite you, so like thrusts the bar of your maul into its mouth to sort of like stop it and shove it away. And as it does, it sort of like adjusts itself and puts its full weight into its claw attack, and it misses you and hits Mev like, you know, right across the chest. She sort of like bounces off the rubble a little bit, and yeah, it's not looking too good for her.
I still feel so good. She's just holding her chest, trying to keep the blood in.
Havelock, you're up.
I'm gonna scooch past Aki, giving him a pat on the chest, telling him good job. I'm gonna run over to Mev's side, right here.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I'm going to give her all 5 of my lay on hands. You get 5 health, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so that's
yay.
your action, I believe. Is it action or bonus action for lay on hands? I keep forgetting.
Action.
Honestly, yeah.
Action. Got it. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, as an action, touch creature.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so
And
yep.
I'm just checking something else. So much fucking things on here.
Well, I have an increased chance of survival now. It may not be a lot, but it's mine.
Tom, is creating a tentacle of the deeps an action or a bonus action? So it says it's a bonus act. No. I'm an idiot and I just got my words mixed up. I would like to take a bonus action to make a tentacle over here.
Does it say that it's a bonus action, just to make sure? Yeah,
As a bonus action, you create a 10-foot long tentacle.
Okay, so where are you placing it?
Behind him.
Yep, let me just pull out the... What the hell's that there? Oh, whatever. 1 second, I'm just gonna... you know what, we'll just go with this one again, because I like this one. It's probably bigger than it should be, but it's fine, I'll make it smaller. Yeah, that's much bigger than it should be, I'll make it smaller. I'll play that.
If it's the rage. And we're gonna make a melee spell attack and hit him in the butt, hopefully.
Okay.
They took us.
That is a +4 for my spell attack bonus. Roll 1d20s. 12?
Wouldn't you have advantage because flanked?
Oh my god, that is flanked. 18.
That's good, because the first one missed. The 12 missed.
fuck! Look at the animation. That's cool.
Oh yeah, you can finally see the animation finally.
That's snazzy, creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Okay, yep, so the second one hits.
1d8 cold.
Ooh.
Equal to 1 cold damage. And its speed is reduced by 10 feet.
Okay. I don't think it's in a situation to care at the moment about its reduced speed.
Probably not.
Okay. Is that your turn?
Yeah.
Alright. Marine, you're up.
Alright. Marine is gonna go right there, and he's gonna start swinging.
Alrighty. Regular attacks, unfortunately,
No problem.
because it's directly across, you know. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you fight things diagonally. Oh, wait, no, with advantage, yeah, because, duh, totem. I keep forgetting totem. Yeah, because it's anything within 5 feet of the totem holder. Yeah, both of those hit, so 3, 4, 9,
And also Spirit Shroud time.
9, 15. Okay, so that's 15 damage total. I think. I'm mathing. Oh, wait, no, I am mathing wrong. 12. 1 sec. 10, 13, 19. There we go. Brain got there eventually.
And
Okay.
that's all that matters.
The owlbear's looking pretty rough. Still standing, but oh boy, it's looking rough. Okay. And that is your turn, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Aki, you're up.
Hello there. Let me just sort something. Okay. Let's have a look at something quickly.
Alright. Don't take too long now.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, so the heat mail's gone at this point, because the null's fucking dead, unless you want to just keep burning a corpse.
Hold on, so 5 radius. It's annoying he's this big.
Mm-hmm. Large creatures, am I right?
What?
And then the gargantuan one's just there, like, shut up.
Because I'm trying to find a way of casting Moonbeam without killing everyone.
You could always tell us to move. And we can all action disengage and yeet.
I could not take an opportunity attack.
Okay, tell you what then. I will move here,
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said action disengage.
and then I will hit Mevelair with a Balm of the Summer Court.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
So you get I can't remember. Is it D6 and then +1 temporary hit point?
I think so?
Yes. You have a number of D6 equal to a druid level. Anyone you can see within 120 feet. And spend a number of these dice equal to half your druid. What? Huh. Hold on.
You're getting confused by the writing.
Yeah, hold on. So you choose one creature you can see within 120 feet of you, and spend a number of those dice equal to half your druid level or less. Okay. Okay, I get it. So basically, it means you can do multiple.
Yeah,
but you
so
can
you
still
have
do
a
one.
pool. Yeah, so you have a pool of Fey energy represented by a number of D6 equal to your Druid level. So you have 5 D6s,
Okay.
and there's a bonus
In that
action.
case-
You can spend up to half your Druid level or less. So you can roll up to 2 dice. So 2d6s.
In that case, I tell you what, I will roll 2d6s
Okay. Yeah.
on two, and I'll just use it onto Mevelair, so you suddenly feel all lovely.
Woo!
Yeah, so you get
And then-
2d6 whatever healing, and you get 2 temporary hit points.
Wow.
You get 4. You get 4 hit points and then 2 temporary hit points.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I might be able to survive another.
And obviously keep in mind, Ed, that you don't get those d6s back until you finish a long rest. So you have 3 of those dice left before you need to take a long rest.
Lovely.
Okay. So that was your bonus action. What's your action?
My bonus action. I don't know what I can do as a bonus action.
Your action. Bonus action was your palm, weren't it?
My bonus action was Barman's Hammer Court. You are
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So
In
your
that case-
action.
Because it's a 5-foot radius. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna cast. What's it called? Moonbeam.
Centered here.
Right here. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 5-foot radius, so... Yeah, so that misses them all, and it hits the owlbear.
Yeah.
I don't know, does the tentacle have hit points? I keep forgetting.
I thought it just
Yeah, I think
stayed there.
I think it just chills there. Okay. So you cast that. Now, I remember with Moonbeam, we had the confusion there, but it's when it's the owlbear's turn, you actually
Yep.
do the rolls.
When it starts its turn in it, yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, it's going to.
Yeah, when the creature enters the spell area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it's engulfed in ghostly flames that cause searing pain.
Okay, got it.
And then it takes 2d10 radiant damage and does a spell save. And does a constitution save.
Yeah, so when its turn happens, so if that's the case, Kinlan, you're up. I'll find a graphic for the circle. You know what, fuck, I'll just use this core lightning circle. I'll just resize it. It would be... There we go. We can no longer see the owlbear. So turn for more attack, done reckless. Okay. Yeah, that hits. That is 12. I'm just going to shift that out of the way so I can actually get to its health. It's looking real rough. Okay. Reckless? Not reckless even, just regular attack. Dangarang. Wait, won't it still be a fan? I guess that's a house rule kind of thing. That's right, we'll stick with how we're going right now. Okay. No. I'll shift this later. Whoops. I'll shift this later on. Okay, so is that your turn? Okay. Mev, you're up.
Okay. Mev, like, shakes herself loose. She's gearing herself up. And she's gonna go ahead and swing 2 more times.
Okay. With advantage, because you got kindling there as a totem thing. Wow.
Oh, none hit.
None of them hit.
No, that one was bad.
That...
She's a little disoriented. Yeah, she's busy bleeding.
Okay. If that's the case, I guess that's the end of your turn.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the owlbear's turn. I want everyone but Aki to roll a d20.
Oh god, why?
No buffs. No mods.
Just a regular d20. Okay. Because as I said... Oh wait, yeah, Moonbeam. Well, first is just that for the fun of it. Because I get the feeling I know what's about to happen here. But you never know. There is a chance, so I just wanted to check.
D10 radiant damage. Okay, one
Half
second.
if it makes the con save, if I remember correctly. Yeah, half on a successful con save.
Yeah. So hold on, let me.
It's what is that? That is a. He rolled a. He's just made the save.
Bollocks.
He rolled a. He rolled a.
Is he a shapeshifter?
No,
Fuck. Okay.
no. But he rolled. He needed a 16. He rolled a 13, and he has a +3 to his con.
You dick. Okay.
So he takes 5 points of damage. Okay. With that, he rolled a natural 20 on his next attack onto Marine. And rolled a 21 on the second hit. So, I apologize in advance. You take... So for the first hit, you take 17 points of piercing damage. And for the second hit, you take 14 points of slashing damage.
For both hits.
Huh?
Both on me, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's single target focusing things down.
I'm barely up.
Okay, I need you to make because isn't your shroud thing a con save?
Yeah.
Need you to make 2 con saves.
Okay.
You essentially just got to beat 10. Okay, yeah, you're fine. You still hold the shroud. Right, okay. That is the owlbear's turn. Havelock, you're up.
Can we kill it?
I would like to try and hit it again with a tentacle really quickly.
Okay, good. I was about to say, if you try to attack it from where you are, just like how you have half cover, it has half cover because of the angle. Because of the terrain.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and
Nope.
make the attack roll with the tentacle. Uh,
14?
14 just hits.
And that is a D8. Is that a D8? Yeah. That takes 2 damage.
2 damage. It's looking real. It's barely hanging on.
I would like to make my way over here.
Okay, it will make an opportunity attack on you, but I just need to remember how much half cover gives. I think it's a +5 to your AC, but I just want to check. Half cover? Oh, it's a +2. Okay, so it is going to make an attack on you, but...
Okay. If it's a +2, it has to beat 19.
It beat 19.
Okay.
Rolled a natural 18. You take 11 points of piercing damage.
Wait, natural 18 beats 19?
No, a natural 18, that's before the, attack bonus stuff. It has a +7 to its attack, so it was a 25 total.
And you said how much damage?
It was 11 points.
Ouch. Okay. I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna smack it with Liamar.
Okay, you have advantage.
We like advantage.
How do you want to do this?
Can I slice its arm off?
Which arm? It's got 4 limbs. It's an owlbear.
Whichever one I am closest to.
Okay, that would be its back left leg.
Works fine.
Yeah, so you sort of... It tears into your back as you sort of skirt around the rubble, and it sort of, prepares to attack one of your friends. You sort of, swing the axe back with both... I know it says one-handed, but just for flavor. With 2 hands, and you just sort of, essentially almost like you're cutting down a tree. You sort of, 1, 2, And on the third hit, you finally cut through the bone and muscle, and it sort of like falls on its leg. It sort of like begins screeching and crawling, and then the amount of blood loss hits it as it sort of like keels over. And you just kind of watch as its fur starts to begin to smolder from the moonbeam.
Did I enter the moonbeam?
Nope.
Okay. I'm panting, and I'm gonna
At least I think.
shout
Did
over here to
you?
Ak.
Oh, yes, you did. Sorry, that was my mistake. You can revert that if you'd like, but you'd revert the damage. Your choice. You take the hit or you revert it, because that was my mistake on that one.
Revert it.
Revert it. Okay. So we'll go back here. So you can also undo the damage. So undo the 11 damage, unless you moved. Still.
Yep. I'm getting rid of that 11 damage.
Okay. So yeah, you still get your action. You can make an attack on it now. It's just to say it has an extra +2 to... Oh, actually, no. We can just use that hit. I assume you'd hit it either way.
Yeah, because the other thing I was just gonna do is probably try to hit it with my like crossbow.
Okay, well, we'll say that you hit it with that, because you can hit it from here. So, yeah, still same results. Except you cut off its front left leg instead of its back left leg.
That works.
Yep.
I'm panting. I look back over to Aki. See? I can cut through fucking wood. I can cut through a leg.
He looks at you and goes. He looks and goes. That's your priority right now. I don't give a shit if you cut through wood.
Yeah, so that is a dead owlbear. And as such, like, the entire time, like, you guys have just, like, had your, like, a blood pumping through your ears and such. You've just been entirely focused, and at this point, you sort of, like, step back, just examine your wounds and such. You suddenly, like, you start, like, getting more spatial awareness again, and you just hear, like, the crowd just cheering and clapping.
Mav, like, looks up at the crowd, and she goes along with them. She's like, yeah! Woo!
I'm gonna take that owlbear leg. I'm gonna heft it up. I'm gonna sling it over my shoulder. I'm taking that shit with us. We're cooking this.
Okay.
Mav's gonna go back to, like, the little... what is it called? I don't know, the locker room?
The waiting pit. We'll just call it the waiting
Yeah.
pit.
Yeah. You know, she's excited the whole time. She's cheering with the crowd. And the second she gets to that waiting room, she immediately just melts and, like, leans on the wall, sinking down.
Okay. So...
Is that supposed to bleed that much?
Whew. Me or the bear?
Us.
Whew, that was fun, but that hurt.
How bad is Mev looking?
She's not profusely bleeding, but she looks fucking rough. Do you try to do anything?
Yeah, what have I got?
I'm asking because Matt's probably gonna stop you.
Okay, I was gonna go and give you a cure wounds.
No. If you do, Mev just kind of like raises a hand to you. Save it for when we're actually in the pits. I will bandage myself up. Marine, do you need my help?
It would be appreciated.
Alright, let's fix ourselves up, huh? Anyone else?
Kenling, you want to cook this thing? I need a nap.
Do you want a fun fact?
Yeah.
Hand it over.
I went through that
Sure.
entire thing without getting hit once.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck you.
because you were in the front line.
Was
So-
going around slinging shit.
You were the
Want
front
to know
line.
another fun fact?
Yeah.
I literally survived that double target with 1 HP.
Oh.
In that case, he probably sees you short-circuiting and barely functioning, and Aki will go over and go, oh God,
Hey, As she said before, save it.
Marine's like goddamn Johnny Five after he gets beat up by the thugs.
But look at yourself, good man.
I am very proficient at repairing myself.
And I've been practicing.
Indeed.
All right, but I suppose if we are to win this God's damned thing, we can't have you keeling over and permanently shutting down before we hit the final field, hey?
Don't worry, we've got it handled. If we need your help in a little bit, we'll let you know.
Havelock's gonna take out some of those herbs and spices and just toss them to Aki. Go help kindling.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Technically, you also have your second wind, which you could use. And I think that actually recharges on a short rest. I'm pretty sure it recharges
Let
on
me
a short rest.
check.
I think action
Short or long rest? Yeah, I'll go ahead and use my second one then.
I think also action
So
surge does as well. Yeah, short or long rest for action surge.
1d10 plus fighter level. What level are we? 5? Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, as you all kind of cook the leg to get everyone XGs, yeah, you can. If they decide to eat it.
I'll fucking eat it. I need it.
I can't eat it.
Well, you know what? Now Mev has a second one that she can eat probably as a little bonus action to just shove it down her gullet in battle.
We'll
Two, for fuck's sake.
we'll say for flavor text, just because of, well, it also just be incredibly unfair, is that you still do get the extra like D8. You just, rather than spend the time eating to replenish, you just do, you know, some last minute repairing.
Because the treats last 8 hours after being made, and you can use a bonus action to eat one of these treats to gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus.
Does it say how many bits you make? Does it say how many bits is made from it?
You can make 4 plus your proficiency bonus. So he should be able to make 4, 5, 6, 7? 7 of them?
7. Okay, yeah. So someone can get 2 extra if you all decide to eat. Yeah. So.
Okay.
So while you all rest for the hour window before round 2 begins, should you decide to partake in round 2, we'll take a small 10-minute break, because that was probably very adrenaline-filled.
Thank God, I'm so fucking hungry. I've been waiting to get my food.
Go get it.
Alright.
I get some food.
I'm sorry, I'm reading the stuff. That's fucking great. Listen, sometimes your characters are just you, and that's okay.
Okay.
I mean, is that okay?
I mean,
There's
it depends
one
on what type of
person who
person you
should
are.
not.
Alright, Tom, go
Okay.
ahead. I'll be eating.
Alrighty. So, the hour passes for the first team as they sort of prepare themselves, resharpen their weapons, talk various tactics. And then the Firu stand up and return back into the arena. I assume the rest of you head up onto the balcony to observe the fight, so I'll just move us back to the start area again. Oh, the start bit again. So, they once again get into the same position that they were previously, a phalanx formation with one of them readying a crossbow. And the portcullis opens again. This time, you see that it's gnolls. Small group of them. Not similar. One of them looks somewhat similar to the one that you had just fought previously. But you can see one of them wielding 2 battle axes in one of its hands. And I'll just quickly... You've seen where the pack lord is, so I'm not going to put that one on there because blah. But you see one that's wielding 2 axes. Heavily armored, bones adorn his metal as well. And you see 2 more when it loads up. This one, these 2 even, wearing much more like regular leather armor, but you can also see around its belt, you can see severed hands, severed limbs, on one of them a severed head, seemingly almost like collecting the flesh of individuals that they've killed. There's a pause as the gnolls watch. And screw it, I'll throw in the one that you... Again, it's the one that you fought. Looks similar to the one that you fought. And with a roar from the what appears to be the pack leader or the pack lord, the gnolls charge forward towards the phalanx. One of the soldiers you watch as he sort of like puts down his spear. His hand glows with arcane energy, and you watch as a orb appears, and he fires it at the approaching gnolls, unfortunately missing. He picks up his spear again and gets ready as the crossbow-wielding soldier shoots at the dual-axe-wielding gnoll that's still barreling down on them, seemingly unfazed from the hit. Meanwhile, the pack lord, you see, pulls out a bow and begins to fire, basically retaliate backwards, but aiming for the phalanx, who, the one in the middle is the target, and is able to dodge, block it with the shield. And as that happens, the other 3 gnolls collide with the shield wall. Initially, they get knocked back, with the center flank still holding firm, but the other 2's getting knocked backwards. The front of the line sort of like deliberately moves itself back to keep the line forward. However, the battle axe wielding gnoll, who was at their left flank, sort of like knocks into the shield, so like partially denting it, pulls it away, and swings the axe into the soldier. You watch it like hits hard into the chest as he staggers back, able to sort of like readjust his stance with the shield, and so like begins stabbing forward. The 2 soldiers on the flank begin so like pushing back with a mixture of like shield bashing and stabbing into it, while the middle one holds his ground initially before joining in as well. You watch as one of the flesh wielding gnolls get stabbed by 2 of them, by the center and the right flank soldier, before going limp and falling. At this point, the soldier with the crossbow takes another shot at the dual axe-wielding gnoll, but unfortunately he's not able to get a good hit due to the ferocity of the battle between the soldier and the gnoll. The pack lord, which you had sort of like, your attention's been focused on this melee going on. You watch as the pack lord sort of like aims his bow carefully, aims upwards, and strikes twice at the female. You watch as one like pierces almost directly into the neck, and the other one directly into her stomach as she sort of like staggers backwards and just sort of like snaps the arrow shafts off them so that she can move a bit more freely, and just sort of like staggers a bit, but still standing just about. At this point, the pack lord has been advancing forward this entire time, pulls out his blade and runs into the fray himself, focusing more on the front line. At this point, the other flesh-wielding gnoll, due to its right flank falling away, So, like, gets surrounded by the other two, and in a similar manner, gets stabbed from both sides, falling limp. At this point, the wounded female soldier tries to move itself in a position where it can flank the Pack Lord, while the others try to essentially wrap around. The right flank of these soldiers is essentially the anchor trying to hold it all together. You can see at this point, though, trying to hold it through, he's bleeding heavily. He's got several axe wounds from it. His shield is badly dented. He's still holding firm and is able to sort of like retaliate with a few strikes of his own, but he's definitely on the defensive. The Pack Lord sort of like turns around towards the injured female, trying to finish it off, but she's able to block it with the shield. And as she does, the right flank soldier so like takes the opportunity to get a stab that goes into the base of the Pack Lord's neck and then out through the front. As he pulls away, he narrowly avoids losing his hand from the axe wielding gnoll. As he sort of like is able to pull himself away, you can see he's tired. He's breathing heavily. He sort of like readies, adjusts his grip on his shield. But at this point, the boxing in of this gnoll is complete. The Pack Lord's body is kicked away as a female, so like positions on its left flank. The two others are behind it and to its right. And at this point, the gnoll sort of like begins just wildly slashing in a blind panic, not really focusing on who to hit, just, you know, it needs to get free. It's stuck. It needs to get out. It keeps hammering into the shields, but each time they're sort of like boxing it in. It struggles to move as it's just slowly being whittled away by being stabbed, until eventually the gnoll, just exhausted, drops a battle axe, drops the other one, staggers backwards, and just falls over dead as they sort of back away to avoid being crushed by it. The soldier that was on the right flank sort of falls down onto one knee. As I said, like, you can see he's covered in blood. Some of it his, some of it his opponent's, and he's sort of like helped up by the others. And while two of them are mostly doing well, you can see that the female one and the one that was holding the right flank, they're looking rough as they walk back in to the fighting pit, to the waiting pit. So there's a cheer and there's applause and such, and the removal of the bodies continue. I take it you guys just enamored here, not wanting to do any talking. That's fine.
I'm eating my food.
I know, and some of you got food as well.
Yeah, I guess. Akko's like. It certainly seems to ramp up, doesn't it?
I think that one was faster than the last round, right?
Just about, but you see those fellas, they have formations and stratagems and they have phalanxes and kill zones. Not sure how well we can quite compete with them, but we'll have to try. I suppose we're in this far. We can't exactly chicken out, can we? What sort of reputation would we get then, eh?
Guys, I found someone who's selling popcorn.
Nice.
Yeah.
How can you even be hungry right now? This might be the last few breaths we take, and you're worried about food?
If you're gonna die, don't you want to die fed?
I'd rather not die at all, thank you.
Aki, it will be fine. You're worrying too much.
Yeah, I mean, look at you. You didn't even take a hit. If anything, it should be us two here being like, doom and gloom, but you know.
But we're not, because that's not very helpful. Because if you're focused on dying the whole time, you're going to get nervous and slip up.
So you want a snack?
Indeed.
There's a lot of butter on it.
I assume you're not being quiet with your conversation in regards to this as well, yeah?
No, sorry, not that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the male trollkin that was sort of like nearby, sort of like turns and says, not to be rude, but if you feel that it's too much, you can always forfeit at any time.
Fuck you.
Okay. Just a suggestion is all.
It's okay. You were being very nice about it.
He was Havelock. He didn't. From what I can see, he didn't in the slightest deserve that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I get it. It's fighting arena, tension's high. It's a contest too. Some people more competitive than others.
Mev like puts a hand to her chest with like this poor thing face. She thinks this is very sweet.
Havelock, can you do me a favor?
Oh, what's up?
Just for me, for little old me. Could you perchance apologize to this poor man for me?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
No hard feelings, dude. Sorry.
No,
You want something to drink?
I'm fine, thanks.
You sure? Offers up the jug.
Mayonnaise.
Is that mayonnaise?
I don't know. Why don't you try and see if it is?
I'd rather not, thank you, but I appreciate the offer, sir.
Man, nobody wants the healing mayonnaise.
No one wants the healing mayonnaise. Okay. I'm gonna finish my fucking food.
Okay. Alright. If that's the case then. So some time passes, and the ghosts, the next one that go in there. This one, the portcullis is open, and again, for some reason, and for the record, I randomized what was going to be their opponents here on each one. And the weirdest fucking luck, more gnolls.
Yay!
Multiple
More
of
gnolls.
three of these dual battle axe wielding gnolls. They sort of like, but they shoot out of the portcullis. Like there's hardly any time for the ghosts to prepare themselves. To the point where they're just like, you just watch them like up to the last second. So, like, try and prepare themselves. The dwarf steps forward out of position, and instantly the three of them jump onto him and begin sort of, like, slashing into him. The armor, the heavy armor that he's wearing is holding, but you can see already, like, you see streaks of blood just go flying through the air from the hit, and he's trying to keep himself covered. The halfling runs around to his flank and sort of, like, grabs hold of the gnoll's arm as it's pulling his arm back, and use that momentum sort of like to leap onto his back and start stabbing into him repeatedly. You watch as the human with the prosthetic arm sort of like pulls out a small box, runs forward and tosses it. You watch as sort of the box breaks open, and as it does, a somewhat smallish contraption. It looks almost like a ballista. So like lands on the ground. You watch it sort of like pulls upwards. It turns to face one of the gnolls, and it fires. What you expect to be a bolt, like a physical bolt, ends up being a bolt of energy that sort of like hits into its shoulder as it sort of like staggers backwards. Sort of like looks around trying to see what hit it, not really realizing that what the target was. You watch as the half-elf sort of puts down the bow and sort of like puts his hands together, pulls his hands back, and forming from one of his hands and being held in the other is what appears to be a warhammer made of pure ice. He sort of like adjusts his grip on it and runs towards the dwarf, who at this point sort of like turns around, nods, and sort of like holds out his hand ready for something. The fairy at this point is shooting at the gnoll that the halfling is currently stabbing into. but is not able to really get a good hit. At this point, the other gnoll charges at the gnoll that charges at the halfling that's on his back. He gets thrown off and is being like slashed at. He parries best he can, but the size difference and the difference in weapons means that he takes several heavy hits. As he does, like the halfling sort of like jumps back and sort of like readjusts himself, sort of stands behind the dwarf, and you can see he's at that point he's just there like just trying to get a breather, get himself together. At this point, the half-elf tosses the hammer to the dwarf, who drops his own hammer and grabs it in midair. As he does, he swings around with the momentum, and you hear an audible crack as the gnoll that's directly in front of him has his neck completely broken from the impact. There's an explosion of ice from the hit as well, and the gnoll most certainly is deceased. The half-elf at this point, like, pulls out his blades and begins attacking at the gnolls that are trying to surround the dwarf. And sort of, like, stops one of them in his tracks. The other gnoll, however, that's sort of, like, on the far side... Oh, the audio cut out for a second there. Sort of, like, charges through both, like, through the crowd towards the human. Sort of like leaps up over the turret and sort of like latches onto him and starts biting into his neck. Definitely finding purchase on the hit, but is eventually thrown off. As it sort of like stands up to get ready to attack the human again, the ballista sort of like turns. You watch as energy sort of like generates in it, and it fires into the gnoll, which sort of like it looks, and as it sort of like hits it in its face, you just watch it sort of like tumbles over and over and over from the impact before just lying there completely still. At this point, the other gnoll sort of like breaks through the defense of the half-elf and sort of like slashes into his left arm before taking a large overhand swing and embeds itself deep into his shoulder. You swear from how deep it's gone in that he was going to lose his arm, but somehow he's still got his arm, but he screams out in pain. The halfling at this point sort of like swings around the dwarf and uses his shield as a launch pad to jump on top of the gnoll and stabs both his daggers in and tries to like pull him away from the half-elf. However, the dwarf tries to get a swing in, but due to the halfling now on his on its back, he's not able to really get a good hit. He's just there, like you see him trying to adjust his swing and find a good hit, but he's not able to due to the flailing of the gnoll. Until eventually the half-elf at this point, after the fairy comes by and you see like just pats him on his back, you see like a spark of arcane energy, not similar to a cure wound spell. The elf sort of like pulls the axe out of his shoulder, throws it down, takes his sword, aims carefully before stabbing it directly into the gut of the gnoll, who just sort of like instantly stops, looks down at the wound, looks up at the half-elf before he just slumps onto his knees and then falls off with the halfling jumping off earlier. At this point, you can see two of them looking incredibly rough, and the dwarf isn't looking very good either. Actually, the only one that looks good right now is the fairy. But they are victorious in their fight. They sort of give a tired celebration outside the fairy, who's still very much eager. And they return back in. Alrighty. So again, 5 minutes, so if you decide you want to say anything, you can, but if not, then I will...
So the ghost won?
Yes, the ghost won, though from the looks of things, they're not looking very good. Like, only one of them, at this point, it kind of ironically, similar to you guys, is the only one that looks, like, relatively healthy.
Nice.
You can see that, like, two of them are very badly wounded. The half-elf is, like, still having his shoulder looked into. they look still determined, but they are definitely looking rough.
You can do it. Get yourself killed.
Yeah, more gold for
Did I say that?
more
Huh?
winning gold. Okay. So, next fight. It's the representatives of the Tendered Earth.
Indeed.
They all head in as well, the game position. The two goblins keep their distance this time, after what happened in the first fight. But they're mostly in the same position as they were before, with the Tabaxi staying close to the Loxodon, the Knoll a little bit further to the side, and the goblins sort of together. And the portcullis opens. It's a singular entity that you can see, but it's a large entity. It appears to have more than a pair of limbs. In fact, it seems to have several. And it sort of like walks out. You can see it's a weird flower, a weird large flower, and you sort of try to put your finger outside of the fact that is a flower that's moving, and then you realize why. Wrapped in several of its tentacles and in its body itself, you see 8 corpses within it.
Oh boy.
And that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. And so
Grim.
they you see them all look a bit taken aback outside the Loxodon, who's sort of like just staring at it. You can't see her face because back's to you, but like the others sort of like look about, and so like one of them steps like a step or two back, but the Loxodon just still has them all over her shoulder. She just turns to the Tabaxi, who just sort of like nods, and the Tabaxi charges at the at this weird corpsey flower, a corpse flower, if you will.
Corpse flower, if you will.
Yep. The Tabaxi charges forward with the flail and sort of like slams into it. What do you mean where is it? It's right here. So like smashes into it, sending plant matter flying about all over the place. And as the Tabaxi steps back, you just see her face scrunch up, and she begins like coughing and hacking. You imagine it probably stinks.
Tom?
Yes?
What map are you on?
I'm on the start map. Oh, right.
We are not on the start map.
Whoops. I thought
There
I
you
dragged
go.
it over. I thought I dragged it over.
That's pretty cool.
That's what it looks like.
Nice.
Yeah. It's fine. You could use your imagination in the past 2 fights. Not to say that you won't need to use your imagination here. But yes, that's what it looks like. As I say, a corpse flower, if you will. You watch as a hobgoblin fires a ray of frost at the corpse flower thing. You watch as several of its tentacles freeze up, and it begins to move slower, but it still seems to be approaching. You then watch as the Loxodon sort of takes the maul, puts it in 2 hands, and sort of roars outwards. And you watch, she begins to charge forward, and it seems that every time she steps, weird vines seem to erupt from her footsteps and sort of follow after her. As she approaches the corpse flower, she slams into it with the butt of the maul. You watch it actually goes probably about 2 feet in as she forces it out and then swings with the actual maul itself. Sorry. You then watch as the corpse flower begins to convulse a bit, and you watch as one of the corpses just vanish within the corpse flower itself. And as that happens, it begins to flail about with its tentacles. Several of them sort of whip out at the Loxodon, who's able to sort of it hits, but she doesn't even flinch from it. It's essentially like a glancing blow off a thick hide. However, you watch as one of them sort of like essentially backhands the tabaxi. As the tabaxi's trying to dodge the various ones. One of them just eventually like hits it across the face. She staggers, just shakes her head a bit, and sort of like re-readies herself. The goblin follows on from the Ray of Frost with what appears to be a firebolt spell that hits a corpse flower. You hear an audible screech come from the flower as it hits, and it sort of like flails about. The flames don't take hold, but it very much felt that. The knoll finally at this point sort of like has gotten its bearings, charges forward and begins to like hack away, almost like it's trying to hack away at overgrown jungle and vegetation. It definitely is doing damage, but it's clear that whatever this thing is has got a lot to go through before they actually get to the center. You sort of watch as the corpse flower begins sort of like quiver slightly, and you watch as a slight cloud emits from it. The knoll at this point sort of like covers her mouth, not the mouth, the tabaxi covers her mouth, and begins to like continue to wail in on it. Whereas at this point, the goblin and the two goblins are alternating between firing, like ray of frost, ray of fire, ray of frost, ray of fire. Some of them misses, but you know, a few of them are finding perch. You watch as various parts of it begin to sort of like either freeze and crack or shrivel and sort of like burn away. You watch again as the corpse flower pulls in another corpse and begins to wail on all three of the Tended Earth group that are surrounding it. The Lockstone tries to sort of like block, but you watch as she like begins dry heaving and retching from the stench that's being emitted from this thing, which at this point, just due to how smells are in places, you do sort of like get a small stench of it. It's nothing but decay and rot.
Nice.
So it's, you guys don't have to make any saving throws, but it's like, you know, your nose crinkles at the smell. As it begins wailing, you watch as it sort of like wraps its leg around the tabaxi, so like pulls it up and slams it down onto the ground. And as the tentacle goes away, the tabaxi is on the floor, but she isn't getting up.
Ooh.
At this point, you watch as the goblin sort of like panic and begin to mutter, sort of like very quickly like traces an arcane symbol, and as it does, brings out several more demonic creatures. Let me just quickly get the picture for them. I think they're pronounced this. That's it. That's what it looks like. So the creatures that it summoned are small, like almost like small imps in a way, but much more sort of like reptilian and such. At this point, Dawes does speak up and says, "Oh, okay, right. Pick one of those, did they?"
Dawes, what the fuck is that?
It's called a cackler.
I see.
Yeah, they're jesters, basically, kind of. It's difficult to explain. They're demons, though, so I fucking hate them.
Wait a second. Can I clarify something? Where did the cackler come from?
The goblin summoned one. Summoned them, even. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they're demons. They're jesters for demons. I don't know. Devils fucking hate demons, so... Good riddance if they die.
Doesn't matter, you're cool. Bless you, little field mouse.
Sorry.
Alright. So at this point, like, the cacklers get summoned, but they sort of, like, appear to be eyeing up everybody. Though you can see at this point the goblin's sort of, like, pointing at the corpse flower desperately, trying to convince them to go for it, whereas it's the hobgoblin, like, is stuck partially and just has a kind of, like, are you serious kind of attitude to it. At this point, I've lost my trail on there. Here we go. At this point, the knoll sort of like reaches down to the tabaxi. You see energy, again, similar to a Cure Wound spell, go into the tabaxi. who like just rubs her head, sort of like looks up and looks over at the cacklers, and again, because you can lip read Aki, you basically see her say, "What the fuck are those things?" Just stands up and begins slashing again at the corpse fire. The cacklers themselves, sort of like charge towards the corpse fire itself, leap up upon it, and begin sort of like clawing and biting into it. Mixture of spitting it out and just outright swallowing it. At this point, the hobgoblin just gets annoyed, claps his hands together, and you watch as sort of like an area around the corpse fire sort of like ripple and explode outwards in what you players would know as the shatter spell. And it does, like, the corpse fire sort of like staggers forward, and the cacklers, all of them, get caught in the blast and dissipated. To which the goblin begins arguing with the hobgoblin. Lots of swear words again, as you could probably tell with that Aki, given that the spell just got removed from there. At this point, the Loxodon finally just like gets her bearings from the stench, pulls, readies her maul again, and begins wailing again. The corpse fire begins to sort of like pull in more of these corpses in desperation. However, at this point, it's taken too much heavy damage in too much areas until eventually, like, the Loxodon sort of like swings once, twice, and then it hits a third time, and a few seconds later, it sort of like gives suddenly. And then another second later, and the corpse fire just collapses, almost splitting in two. And with that, they win their second fight. Though at this point, you can see from the impact, all of them are looking rough. Like, even the goblins too, and they hadn't even taken a hit. That was just from what they recovered from in the last fight.
Jeez. With this flower, do we know if it's native?
Make a nature check.
Nature.
12. You wouldn't be surprised if it was native. You do know that there are areas, and there are, like, especially as well with how much the druid tribes used to be in Karmora before the founding of the Republic, you wouldn't put it past more malicious ones to have made these breed of flowers, but you can't be too sure.
Okay. Interesting.
It's a case of, like, that's native? Ah, didn't know that. Interesting.
Have I heard of corpse flowers like this?
Make a nature check.
Yay. Come on, this is the one thing I'm supposed to be good at.
Fail, fail, fail.
Let's see what you get.
It's not loading. Hold on. Oh, there we go. 3, 2, go.
15. You know of corpse flowers. They are, in terms of, like, if they're a common thing, it's a kind of a yes-no kind of deal.
Right.
Typically, they're flowers that have been corrupted by necromantic energy, or basically a flower that has been too close to a decomposing undead creature. Essentially, it has absorbed the essence of these undead creatures and is essentially a zombie plant, which just wishes to add to its collection of corpses that it can make use for whatever things it sees fit.
Gross.
This is your first time experiencing a corpse flower, however, so you do not know their full capabilities outside of what you've just seen.
Stunning. Okay.
As they walk, as the Lieutenant of Ambassador and such walk in, you watch just from the balcony, like from the stairs downwards. She instantly approaches the Leonin that you had spoken to initially, and sort of talks. I can make a perception check for me.
Love to.
This is just to see if you
well-
can spot... Okay, yeah, definitely. You don't even need to do
Hold on. 20.
Yeah,
There we go.
so you can... It's a bit difficult to see because obviously you're standing from up the balcony and such, but you can see at this point the Luxton and Leonin talk, so you can read their lips if you decide to read in, I guess.
Go on then.
Okay. So the Luxton approaches, so like puts them all down and simply says, "Make this clear that this is us forfeiting the final round." Oh, excuse me, what? Yes. I feel that I've seen what is to offer, and if I'm being honest here, I don't think we would survive another fight. So, to save you time, we forfeit.
Oh, fuck.
Right, okay, do you want to, head out, or... No, we will simply remain here. I wish to see what these fighters have to give to their cause. I'm simply making it clear that you do not need to worry about our next fight. Well, thank you for the entertainment, however, Ambassador Gianna, but by all means, yes, I'll leave you to it. Thank you. And for the first time at this point, the Luxton heads up to the balcony to join you all and watch. Nice. The others do as well. Though for the most part, it was only really the Luxton. Gianna, her name appears to be, was the only one that didn't really join them in the battles. So it seems weird to have this large, imposing Luxton just sort of casting an eye over you all and sort of getting herself comfortable.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Am I fancy going to meet her?
Well, she's there on the balcony with you. Okay. And so, at this point, it is the mercenary group that come in next. With this one, they get in a similar position as before. The portcullis opens, and what comes out this time is... where is it? There it is. It bounds outward very quickly. So it takes a few seconds for you to realize that it's almost like a spiked frog. Almost. Large, muscular, with black obsidian spikes on its back. It runs forward. It doesn't even give them time to prepare themselves fully. And so the battle basically begins right off the bat. The Dragonborn extends out a hand, and you see several beams of energy, magic missiles, essentially, if you will, sort of hit into the side of this frog-like creature. Whereas as you watch as both of the Troll Kings get ready to fight, you watch as the female Troll King sort of runs her hand across her warhammer as it begins to erupt in flames. As she sort of prepares herself, the human takes out his hand crossbow and fires 2 bolts at the creature. At this point, it's taken a few minor hits, and begins to veer to the right, trying to avoid all of the combat that's going on. To the point where it runs directly into the 2 Troll Kings. How do I word this? Because I'm not gonna lie, this was a really fucking short fight for a simple reason. You watch as the female Troll King pull back her hammer with 2 hands, waits, and swings. It hits directly on the top of the head, to the point where you swear you see the skull cave in slightly. And as it impacts, you see, very briefly, several pulses of energy go through into the hammer, which sort of push down more on the skull. You hear a crack as you're fairly sure now the skull has cracked, as a radiant fire begins to burn through it. It's still standing, but it was a natural 20 on a paladin which had smite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm not. It's a crit, and not to mention pumping in the divine smites and such in there. We've seen what that can do. At this point, the what's it? I've lost my train of thought there. The Dragonborn has sort of fires a crossbow bolt at the frog creature. It hits. It doesn't even notice. You're pretty sure it's lost most of its senses from the impact, to the point where the human just kind of like half-assedly just fires a crossbow bolt before the Troll King just walks forward. It's almost sad at this point. Like, he almost seems sad. He just sort of like essentially puts it out of its misery.
Oh.
I want to make it clear that when I did that fight, the Paladin Troll King rolled a natural 20 on its first hit and pumped her highest level spell slot into it to max out the damage.
How fun. Okay.
And I think, if I remember correctly, she did over 80 damage.
Nice.
Guys, I think Havelock has a new hero.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was very disappointed in that fight as well. Like, it was really cool, but it's like, oh, that only lasted like 5 turns. Damn. But yeah, at that point, like, they're all kind of there, like, I guess we won. Just, there is a bit of booing from the crowd this time.
Havelock's solo eye is sparkling. I want to do damage like that.
Yeah, as they kind of walk in. At that point, like, the male Troll King sort of like realizes that he's bleeding, as he had taken a hit or two from the frog creature, but he kind of just brushes it off for the most part, just because it's like, oh, I guess, okay. All right. At this point, like, they can basically just walk back up onto the balcony. They look mostly disappointed in the fight. I think they were all expecting something a bit more outside of the female Troll King, who's just happy. Then again,
Good for her.
Then again, like, even though I'm just like, I wish it was so much. I wish that was longer. At the same time, I was just there like, oh my god, I just dealt 80 damage in a single hit.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking paladins.
But
Paladins are god.
Yeah. But at this point, like, they sort of prepare themselves and just exchange in small talk. If anyone wants to do, then it's your guys' turn again.
I suppose I could go quite as well as that. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Okay, so now I'll move us back to the arena. I will put your tokens back on again. I had only taken them out before just for neatness sake, but now I also regret that decision because now I got to manually drag them all in again, but that's fine. It's fine. Look at this. It's the consequence of my own actions. So again, as always, you can't go beyond that rock, but go ahead and put your characters wherever you feel like.
Tom,
Yes.
might I
There you
have
go.
a little Dawes right here?
Sure. Let me grab the imp.
Be here? Is this good enough?
Yeah, that's good enough. That's just at the line.
Okay.
Actually, as well, just to mention, Havelock. You get approached by the Onin before you sort of like heading and says, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, what's up?
Don't mind the imp, but the rules are just like with the fairy folk there. You can't go higher than someone can hit with melee with him. Just let you know.
Yeah, no, he's just there to, like, look. He's not doing damage.
Alright, but the second he attacks, if he flies out of range, he's free game for those lot. Just, I don't want you to lose your little friend here.
Yeah, no, we're cool.
Good to know. And it's sort of like leave. You hear Dawes go, making a real big assumption there, buddy. Okay. So, The portcullis opens up once more, and walking out this time is two... Well, it's more than two, but like at the front is two armored, pale creatures. Their skin appears to be rotting, but is mostly intact. They walk with a slight, almost like a shamble, but they definitely still have their wits about them. And as they sort of like look and open their mouths, you see sharp, jagged teeth on them. Behind them, however, is something much less of a... Once it loads, come on, load up already. Looks much more like an undead that you know of. However, this one has got various bits of vegetation and twigs and debris and mud on it. It's almost like it's been pulled from a swamp. And they sort of like shamble forward as well. So I'll just quickly put them in the positions they decide to put themselves in, which is that, and there.
My God. Nate.
Ouch.
Oh my god.
What's your
That-
fucking PayPal? I'm charging you $5 for damage.
For
Oh my god.
emotional
How much-
damage.
How much is that Canadian?
I think it's like $8 Canadian, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the conversion rates.
And swamp.
Okay, so I would like you all to roll initiative.
Be high, please. Oh,
Good rolls, good rolls.
Okay.
Not bad, not
That's
bad.
actually a great roll for Mav.
Yeah. Given your... it's a
what?
-2 you got, ain't it?
Yeah.
And then I'll roll for these. Again, there's only 4 of them, so I don't think it'll be too crazy having it... Ah, geez, these things have got really shit initiative, though. Oh, that's even better. Oh, that's
Yeah.
even better. Well, if I didn't know any better, I'd say these guys are probably dead.
Yeah? Why do you say that?
Because they rolled a 7 and 8 respectively on their initiative.
I mean, I could use my divine sense and make sure they're undead or not.
Meanwhile, these guys rolled good. Okay, so that everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's everyone. Yep. Okay, top of the round. Havlog, you're up.
Things all here.
Awesome. I'd like to take 5 feet this way.
Yep.
Aim straight at this guy.
Yep.
And I would like to attack with a crossbow. Let's take that off advantage. 17?
Yeah, that hits.
3 damage. Move back.
Okay.
Instruct Dawes to hover around this guy.
Okie dokie.
Slightly out of range.
Alright, so that would be basically there, because otherwise it would be in attack range.
Yeah.
Okay. You actually notice that you like turn back to look over at the zombie that you just hit. Like it definitely took the hit, but it didn't look like it was as expected. Like it didn't seem to do as much damage as you thought it would. Anyway, it is now the... I mean, I'll just say it because it's a creature that we fought in, you know, the God's Headache one. The White.
Oh, boy.
Are they bad?
I remember this distinctly.
It's going to stand there. And you just see it sort of like stands there and stops and just watches carefully at the 3 of you that it can see. This one is going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. This one's just going to go straight up. Oh, wait, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that would be in all its movement. It could, but it won't. No, it won't.
Does it smell weird?
It definitely has a distinct smell of rot on it.
Does it smell weird? Did you say?
You don't need your divine sense to know this is definitely undead. It is. This thing's fucking dead.
You're better than the corpse flower. Yes.
Oh, I had these the wrong way around. Whatever. No difference anyway. Marine, you're up.
Well, I can see this thing. So I'm going to take some Eldritch Blasting pot shots.
Okay, go ahead and make your Eldritch Blast. Oh yeah, both those hits. Wow, that did a lot.
Oh, and they also get, I believe it's another +3 from my charisma due to Agonizing Blast.
Let me just quickly check. Oh yeah, it doesn't include the Agonizing Blast. So 3 for each hit, or just for the one?
For each.
Okay, yeah, that did a number on that one. So it sort of like walks forward, it prepares itself, and then you just watch as two sort of like almost like aquamarine bolts like hit into the white. It sort of like hits the side of the wall, just like looks over at you, Marine. Good hit. That did a lot to it.
Yep. I'm just looking right back at it.
Okay. So, is that your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Nev, you're up.
Oh, me? Wow. Fuck me. All right. I'm going to summon Valkyr over here,
Okie dokie.
and he's gonna do the 2 attacks for me.
Yep, just give me a second while I just grab Valkyr. Where the hell
Yep.
is he?
You can do it, Valkyr. Please.
Where are you summoning him again?
Right next to this guy. Behind him. Yep.
There's sort of like an audible
Alright.
ooh as it happens. Yeah, I mean there's been
Alright.
some interesting stuff, like, you know, it's akin to like when the goblins summon those demonic creatures. It's kind of something like, ooh, this is interesting. Okay, go ahead and make your 2 attack rolls.
2.
The second one hits.
Second one hits.
And that's physical. It's not like I keep forgetting. It's not like a different type of damage if the echo hits. No.
It's physical, but I think it counts as magical as well.
Okay.
It's not like any specific type. It's just it counts as magical.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to make sure.
And then actually, I will. Yeah, I'll run up and action surge on this thing.
Okay.
So I will attack as well.
All right. Make you 2 attacks. That's a miss.
Come on.
That's a miss.
Damn. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Look at that line. Sucks. All right. That's fine. It's fine.
Especially with the damage. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you sort of like run forward. It prepares itself, which actually it was holding its action to make an attack.
Yep. Go ahead.
That is a 16 to hit.
That meets.
Just hits. Unfortunate. You take 6 points of slashing damage.
6 slashing. I can handle that.
Yeah. It's sort of like you watch as the glaive. It's weird. Sometimes with Valkyr's glaive, so like slashes through, but almost like goes completely through them, as opposed to like, you know, actually sticking in. It's something that Valkyr can do. Obviously, he can just make it just go clear through or just hit through. But as he sort of like does it, the thing like he essentially meets your attack head on, and as he does, sort of like twists his blade in a way that your glaive goes like upwards and away safely from him, as he slashes downwards, cutting into your shoulder.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll end my turn after I get hit.
Yeah.
At least Valkyr hit.
Yeah, Valkyrie. At least you got hits in. All right, Kinlan, you're up. Head over yonder. Where is yonder? Yonder is there. Okay, that white was also preparing an attack, so it's going to make a retaliatory strike against you. Or should I say it's going to... it's a natural 20. Well, he hit a natural 20, so how much did that... 8 points of slashing damage. See, these things aren't big and tough big boys like the Albelves were. Okay, go ahead and bonk it on the head, I guess. Both hits, so that is... Bring it to that, and then take that away. Okay, the white's still standing, but it's already looking real rough. It's kind of taken the brunt of some of the heavier hitters here. Move 5 feet to the right. Whoop. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and that's your turn. Aki, you're up.
Okay, let me check something quickly. Oh, interesting.
Yes.
30 feet long, 10 feet wide, 10 feet. Lovely. Right. I've got an idea.
Your idea is?
I will try to do it. What? Because do you know what I'm trying? Do you know what I'm trying to do, Dom?
You don't know.
Okay, I'm going to try to cast Tidal Wave
Okay.
and try to use it to take out these two guys.
All right.
Because it creates a tidal wave of 30 feet long, up to 10 feet wide, and 30 feet tall.
Okay.
And then if something gets hit by that tidal wave, well, first of all, if you get hit by it, you take 4d8 bludgeoning damage and are knocked prone.
Mm-hmm.
And then if half on a a successful dexterity throw.
Yeah, so they gotta make a dex save, otherwise they'll be knocked prone and take up to 48
And
damage.
they'll take half damage if they don't.
Yeah, I know. And it...
So yeah, I'm gonna cast.
Yeah, it's an instant cast. Okay.
Tidal wave. About here.
Yeah, I get the idea. You're hitting the two zombies basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to roll dex save.
Yeah, so you lot basically just see me take literally just get dip his finger in my water skin, and then just suddenly you look over to the two zombies at the back as you see a gigantic wall of water just collide straight into both of them.
Yeah, one of them made the save, the other one didn't.
Okay, let me roll the damage. What was it? Is it
48?
48? Did I say?
48.
Okay. So one of them's gonna take the full brunt and get knocked prone, and one of them's gonna take half and not.
Yep. So just go ahead and roll the damage.
4d8. Let's do it this way. Someone's barbecuing sausages.
Is Roll20 having issues rolling the damage for you, or?
Yeah, but I'm in it now. Let me sort it.
Yeah, roll 20 has been bugging for me too.
There you go. There's one attack.
Well, it's a single spell, so that's the only damage. That's the
Yep,
only one.
so
Yeah.
28 damage,
Okay.
or 14 for the other one.
Okay. So first most for that. So this one is knocked prone. This one isn't. But you sort of...
And then how's people's health right now?
Pretty good.
Okay, I'll move up here then, just to be a bit closer to the
Right?
action.
It should.
It's weird.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's weird.
It probably should, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's weird, but yeah, well. Let him go, Gygax. Okay, so it is now the zombie's turn, so this one's going to use half his movement to stand up, and then 5, 10, 15... That's stupid, it's going to dash. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah, it can't do anything. Pretty sure. Yeah, it can't at this point. Alright, and then the other one is going to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25...
Oh boy.
I'm going to simply roll my own dice here. If it's odds, it's kindling. If it's evens, it's Mev. Sorry, Mev.
Woo!
What attack is it going to do, though? It's just going to do that attack to begin with. Why the hell not? It's... Nah, never mind, it missed. It rolled a 9.
Woo!
So...
Wait, has one just settled up and is right next to me now?
Yes, but it had to use its dash action to get to you.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So it is right up next to you. It's very wet. It's somewhat as best as you can bruise an undead body, given, you know. But, yeah. Okay, Havelock, you're up.
Awesome. I'd like Dawes to move here.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to move here.
Yep.
I would like to attack with Liamar,
Mm-hmm.
which is advantage.
Yep. That hits.
Awesome. And then I would like, if I still can, Dawes to attack this one with this sting.
Gotcha. So, because we were treating the Dars thing like how a ranger treats their Beastmaster, didn't we? Oh no, it's based off Find Familiar, weren't it? So let me just quickly see if Find Familiar says that you can do that in a bonus action, because that's what it is. That's dependently always obeys a command. Combat rolls, can't attack. Oh yeah, we forego the attack bit. Okay, yeah, then yeah.
Yay.
So first most of yours, that hits. That did damage. It is still standing, just.
Okay.
And now the one for Dawes. I'll simply get the imp sheet up. Where is it? Come on. There we go. So stinger attack. That hits. So that is 1d4 plus 3 piercing. So let me just roll this. Okay. So that is... And then that is poison damage. I need to make a con save. Actually, no, it doesn't. You kind of watch as the as Dawes' stinger so like stabs into the creature, and you watch as like the poison so like goes through its body. The zombie doesn't seem to care about the poison. In fact, you audibly hear Dawes go, "Wait, what the fuck? This ain't how it's meant to work. Hold on, wait, hold on, wait, hold on." And so like gets a bit panicky.
Oh, that's weird.
So you were there.
Can I just call out to the guys? Poison's not gonna work on these things.
Sure, I mean, it's a free action just to scream out.
Yeah.
Okay. It is now the White's turn. Let's make this fun. Havelock, Mev, and Kindling, I want the three of you to roll d20s. And I'll roll a d20 for Dars too.
You could hit me?
This one can.
Oh, it's on the same turn?
Their turns are directly next to each other, if you look on the turn order.
Ah.
I'll also roll for Valkyr.
Should we roll again, Kindling? Because we tied?
You can, yeah, you can, or I can make the final choice. I can be a dick.
What do you want,
Yeah.
Kindling?
Gonna be the nice DM and save Mevalair.
That's true. We could just do 1 and 1. I mean, Havelock rolled the lowest.
Yeah, so basically you're rolling to see if this one decides to go for one of you twice.
Alright, so do you want to roll again, or let Tom decide?
Because I've already rolled for Dawes and Valkyr. And I'm just going to make it clear. They rolled lower.
Ooh!
Oh dear. So, I mean, this one's still going to attack, whatchamacalls it.
Havelock?
No, it's still going to attack Kindling.
Ah, okay.
Because Havelock still rolled lower, so... it's going to make its 2 attacks. That is a miss on the first one. And you know what? It is going to do a life drain attack on you, Kindling, for its second attack, if it hits. Which it does! It rolled a natural... Is that 18? That's 18. One sec. I need to set my light on at this point. It's getting dark. Yes, 18. So that is a 22 total. So I need to make a con save, Kindling. Oh, you just made the save. But you do take 5 points of
Hello?
necrotic damage. Hello?
Hi, my thing is crashing.
Ah,
It's fine, we've only got 10 more minutes.
it's fine.
About.
Well, about. I know where I'm probably going to stop. I'm probably going to stop before the third fight, if you guys decide to do your third fight. And... Oh, actually, the thing probably had advantage. Let me just... I rolled shit on both of those rolls, so yeah, only that one attack hit. Now, the other right, I don't know, is going to attack you, Mev.
Woo!
That's a 19 on the first hit. It's going to do a life drain on its second one. It misses on the second one. So you're only going to take the hit from the longsword attack, which is...
Alright.
Oh, it rolled max damage. That's 10 damage.
I can live.
Yeah. But yeah, that is their turns. So, Marine, you're up.
Alright, so this thing got into melee range with me, so it has chosen death. First of all, I'm going to Spirit Shroud.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with Cold again.
Okay.
And now it's time to just beat it with an anchor.
That hits. That definitely hits. Let's see, so that's 3, so I'll just do the cold damage first, because that's consistent, so that. And then the piercing damage, so that's 6 plus 4, that's 10. That's 13.
And then Spirit Shroud damage.
Oh yeah, it's kind of magical as well. Good. That's good. So 13. Down to that. Brings that down to... Yeah, that thing's dead.
Thank you!
If it weren't for the magical weapon property, it probably would have survived. Warlocks, man.
Warlocks, the new paladins.
Yeah, warlocks and paladins. Coincidentally, both of them have a certain smite attack. Or a variant of a smite attack. Okay.
That is it.
Okay, Mev, you're up.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to. It occurs to me that I was playing with Valkyrie and I probably could have gone again. It's fine. I will do 2 attacks with advantage on the white.
Okay. Let's see. Both hits, so that's 12 points in total.
Woo! And can I try to, actually, hold on. I need to make sure that I can actually do this on the same turn. Yeah, it's a bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
Can I try to confuse it by teleporting with Valkyrie just in the opposite direction?
I can say you can try and, like, make it... I'll say you can do that and try and make it like you're hiding from it.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll say swap it over and then you can make a stealth check.
Okay.
Which I'm aware that kind of sort of cuts away at your thing, but it's like...
Yeah, uh-huh.
It's...
But
at least it gives you the option, and even then, like, it still might have to decide its options here.
Mm-hmm. Gonna say hi to Valkyrie. Oh my god.
Whoa, -1. Unfortunate.
You just hear a large fucking bang.
Yeah. Kindling, you hear in your head. Greetings, Comrade Kindling. Let's have some fun. But yeah, the white sort of like, it does look confused for a little bit, but then it just, like, turns around.
Oh, hello. She does, like, the finger wave.
Yeah. Still very much confused, but you don't know how that's gonna affect the fight. Alright. Kindling, you're up. Who are you booping? Okay, the one that's being flanked by Half-Blood. Got it. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the other 2 hits. Those can apply to either of these 2, because that thing's fucking dead. It had 3 health left. A hit would have finished it off regardless. 1 plus rage damage. Okay, so the first thing that you do is you sort of take your quarterstaff and you stab it in, like, it actually goes into the right chest. You swear you see, like, its chest sort of, like, expand outwards a slight bit from the impact, and it sort of, like, crumples down. You adjust your grip and swing it through to the other right, and it sort of, like, hits it in its head. So that's the second one, so that's... That brings it down to that, which is that. Okay. You sort of, like, clobber it on the nose, which definitely pissed it off. And as you do that, you sort of... As you pull your quarterstaff back again, you sort of, like, let go of it with one hand and slash across the face of the, this weird sort of swampy zombie. A swamp zombie? No. Let me see. Okay, yeah. It's not... It's just... So that is the full amount. So that brings that down to that. Alright, and that's your turn. Akreese, you're up.
Right. What is it I can do?
That's a new character.
Oh no, the orc genes of Akris has taken command.
He's hit puberty, guys.
Right. Hold on. I need to figure out what I can do because a lot of my offensive spells are area of effect, and you're all up in people's grills.
It's almost like building your entire spell repertoire around AoE has its downsides.
Did adjust. Page unresponsive. Yay.
Yep, mood.
You could just go spider and chomp.
Well, I was genuinely thinking of becoming a man. Ada, where are you now?
Man spider. It's like
Correct,
the episode
correct.
where Peter becomes a natural man spider.
Hold on, because. Okay, well, first off, before I do that, how's people's health doing?
I could take a couple hits.
I'm doing amazing.
We sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well fixed.
Okay, good.
I think people have
If she
hardly
needs
been
it,
hit.
she can get food from us.
You would let me know if you're all fucky wucky, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, we're lying, so you keep your spell slots for the end.
Or that, yeah. Hold on, I need to fucking change.
Yeah,
this
because
on
keep in
my
mind the
face.
pot is split between however many rounds you get through.
Yeah.
So the more people that are in that stop at one round, the less there is for everybody.
So what you're saying is we need to Nancy Kerrigan all the other teams, basically.
Yep.
I mean, at the very least, if you win, you got no need to worry about the Tended Earth team because they won too, so they share that
true,
second part.
True.
But either way, what you doing?
Well, currently I'm looking up the animal list. Because I think I am gonna, just for the hell of it, do a bit of crazy shapes. No, none of. Oh, actually,
Yes.
that's my last second level spell slot.
Ed, I appreciate the thought, but pick a struggle.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna probably turn into an animal then.
Okay, what animal? I'll give you 2 minutes. Because I know I would
Okay.
give 1, but I know Roll20's being fucky right now.
Tell you what, Aki is going to turn into a black bear.
Okay, black bear it is. Let me just drag it onto the field. Come on. And I'll make sure to keep the black bear's stats on hit. Jesus Christ, it is being slow now. Ooh, that's actually a really cool art.
Yay.
Although it's weird. A black bear is apparently a medium creature. What? Okay. But yeah.
I mean, black bears aren't nearly as big as brown bears.
Yeah. So there we go. You are now a bear, Aki. You are there. As a
Yay!
bear.
I need to roll 3d8 plus 6.
Oh, you're going to go with you're not going to go with the
Yeah,
average? Okay.
Although, of course, if
Rolls 3 ones. Just make a choice. Are you going to roll or are you going to go stick with the average?
3d8 plus 6,
Okay.
nah, I'm gonna play it interesting.
Okay.
Yeet.
22. You made a profit. The average
Yay.
is 19.
There we go. It's my action to transform, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Because if you were the Circle of the Moon, it would be bonus action, but yeah, it's action.
Yeah, you're not moon or stars.
Okay, in that case. This space here is occupied, isn't it?
Well, you can't stand here anyway. There's rubble in the way.
Yeah, true. Bears are famous for their vaulting skills, aren't
You can try and climb over if you'd like. You do have a climbing speed of 30 feet.
they? True. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can. What's my movement as a bear?
40 feet, just regular. 30 feet for climbing.
I need to keep you open. Okay, in that case, I am going to. I'm gonna go off and look for honey. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna go move there.
Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20,
Just this other side of this broken column.
25, 30?
And then 35, 40.
35.
So just
40.
south of Mev.
Okay. Mev, you see a big black bear just walk by. A triple
Yeah,
B.
my favorite.
A triple B, so to speak.
You watch as the bear looks over to you and gives you a quick wave.
Best a bear can.
Hello? Oh, I know that pompous accent anywhere.
I'm not as good as Matt Mercer, my bear. I'm sorry.
I'm just remembering now when he made Trinket go, "What is a whale?"
I wasn't expecting that.
It's what Matt Mercer said at one point.
Also, yeah, bears are good at waving. You never seen that video of a bear waving at people?
Nope. I don't get out.
man.
I don't watch people get out.
Wow.
It's a sad life. Anyway, so that's your turn then?
Yeah. Given that my action was to digivolve, yeah, that's my action.
Okay. Again, Mev and Kindling, go ahead and roll your D20s. Your D2Os. And I'll roll for...
Oh.
Ooh, actually you have...
Oh my god. Are you serious? 2 nat 20s on this basic bitch roll.
Yep.
And then I get 12s for my hits.
Yep. So, the zombie sort of, like, slowly turns and looks at you, and so, like, then suddenly begins to, like, convulse, and the mouth sort of, like, almost like it's trying to keep vomit in, and then it just... as a mixture of bile and mud just erupts over you. I just want to quickly check. Yeah, it's not one that you don't save. It's a recharge one. So if that's the case, I'll just quickly check here. Ooh. Okay. So you sort of like you get doused in it. It doesn't hurt at all, and you start feeling like slight stings on you, and you sort of like look down and you can see you're now covered in 7 leeches.
So I'm covered in bile and leeches.
Bile, mud, and leeches, yes. They're biting
Delicious.
into you, and you know that they're gonna hurt still, but they're not incapacitating. But you sort of... But you sort of watch as a sort of reddish aura seems to go from them towards the zombie. You're not sure what this is going to do, but...
Yeah, Mev's just looking down at herself, you know, her arms, like, wide, you know the pose that you do when, like, something's been spilled on you?
Yep.
Mev is staring down at herself. She looks at the rest of the group, and you can just see the anger in her eye.
And through the space and time, Nemesis only feels that she needs to take several baths.
Yeah! Nev would have fucking freaked out.
Yep. Okay. That's its turn. It literally can only do one action each turn. Havluck, you're up.
Hi, yes, I would like to make my way here.
Yep.
And I would like to drop using my shield and double hand my Leomar.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to attack
Okay. Straight
this
roll.
bastard. Straight roll.
Yep. Because unfortunately the thing that's flanking you is your enemy.
Yep.
Yeah, that hits.
Slash.
Okay. The zombie's looking pretty rough at this point. Like, it's taking some hits.
It better be.
And I'd like Dawes to attack it too.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
This one with advantage because, yeah, that hits. So don't even need to bother with the poison because it doesn't give a shit about poison. So you'd say, okay. There we go.
There is no such thing as poison now.
Alright, so... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Rather than have you guys roll, especially given the look, I'm just going to do the roll. Up again. Okay. Valkyr's armor class is the same as yours, isn't it?
Yes.
That's who he's going for. That's a natural 1 on his first hit. That is a... Just so I know what Valkyr's is, what's your AC?
16.
This is on that one too.
Okay.
So it stabs forward at Valkyrie, just kind of like sidesteps, and the second one just twirls the glaive, knocking almost knocking it out of his whatchamacallit, out of his hand. Then you hear Valkyrie say, "Please stop this. You're embarrassing yourself." Marine, you're up.
I hope you're talking to them and not me. That is very nice.
You know
I'm gonna go over here.
Yep.
And it's time to bonk.
Okay, you have advantage because Mev's there. Mev, you here? I mean, I can't exactly speak to them without inadvertently speaking in your own mind here. Make your own conclusion, I would say.
Why can't you just say no?
Jeez, another nat 20.
What the? Rain really chose violence today.
10, 6. Oh yeah, no, that thing is fucking dead. 17 health, it was knocked down to 1 health from the first hit. Jeez. Okay, I now need to read up on this thing's ability to see what happens if the creature dies. Or if the thing dies with the leeches when the... They're okay, I guess. Alright. I guess I'll go with that conclusion. Is that your turn, Marine? Hello,
Yeah.
Okay, good. Gotcha. Alright. Mev. So, top of the round, you take, I said 7 leeches, yeah?
Yeah.
You take 7 points of necrotic damage.
Okay. Interesting.
The thing doesn't come back alive, thankfully, given how it says on here. So, I'm concluding that it still does the damage, but doesn't do its other thing, because the thing's fucking dead.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Wow. So, my turn?
Yep. There's just the lone white.
How's it looking?
It's looking hurt.
Okay. I'll do an attack, and Valkyrie will take my extra attack.
Okay.
Do.
Way, there we go.
Oh, Valkyrie!
So that is...
You're rolling stupidly well at the moment.
Well, it's been kind of hit and miss. Some of you have been rolling, like, not too good. And then suddenly it's just, like, back-to-back natural 20s.
Do it, Valkyrie. Yeah. It's one good thing about the Echo Knight. I have constant advantage. When Valkyrie's up, that is.
It's still alive, but oh boy, it's looking rough.
Awesome. It should be looking rough.
Okay, and that your turn?
Yep, that's my turn.
Okay, Kindling, you're up. You got advantage because bear. See, this is what I mean. Like, it's just... Really? Okay.
Jeffrey. Oh, goodness.
That brings it down to that. And then that. And based on that, how do you want to do this? Okay, so you hit it into its gut. It sort of like leans over, winded, which is surprising because it's undead, so it doesn't really need to breathe. But you know, okay, yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean there. You sort of like hit it in the stomach, so like pull back, and then you just sort of long overhead swing, slam right into the ground, and for good measure, you stamp down on the neck just to make sure. Okay.
No, Tom, you have to do it like this. It has to be really obnoxious.
But why would I do that? I would use the Final Fantasy 14 one because that one has a choir that does it. Anyway, yeah, so that thing's dead, and I think that's all of them. You killed all of them with minor damage. Mev is still covered in leeches.
Yeah, she's like, the fight ends and she's like slowly trying to like pry him off her.
Okay, so here's
I would like to assist.
Okay, so if that's the case, I need the two of you to roll. This is weird because you're gonna have to actually put the coding in. A D3. It's so weird. It's like you gotta. It says here. Oh, okay, kindling, no problem. Okay, so that's 3 of them gone. Okay.
Why didn't that? There we go.
I'll just. Let me see. Is it just?
Did he roll to get leeches off me? Thanks.
There we go. Oh, never mind. So 3, 4, 5, 6. So you. I'll say for the sake of it, you don't need to do another roll this one, but you do take an additional point of necrotic damage.
Okay.
But then you get rid of all the leeches.
Great. Good for me.
Okay. So, you finish getting the last of the leeches off, you just like kick the corpse a few times, and you return. Yeah, I can stop the battle music now. And you make your way back into the waiting pits.
Yeah, I'm still in bear form as we walk back into the pits.
Yeah. It doesn't seem to get a whole lot of notice, given that they saw you transform into your form. So
yeah, so Aki just sort of, as a bear finds a corner and then just sort of slumps back and sits back, and then as he transforms back, you just see Aki sat cross-legged and going, "Well, that was entirely pointless."
Want you turning into a bear?
Well, yes.
Barely there.
Very, very good. See, that didn't go too horribly, did it?
I don't know why you are saying that like we were the ones that were concerned.
Well, no, but
And,
I'm more concerned for myself, really. But
you did great. We did great. I'm probably going to have to sit down and fix myself again. And Mev like looks down at herself and wash up a little bit, but
if you need it, Mev, I didn't eat my stuff. You can have it.
oh yes, thank you.
Hungry little she monster.
Listen, fighting's hard. It makes her very hungry. Look at her, she's all skin and bones. Her metabolism must be crazy.
the amount of calories you must burn in a fight. Jeez.
Yeah. Sure. What was that, a D6?
Oh, for the food, it's a D8.
Yeah, a D8. Okay.
As you're sort of like doing this,
Yes.
nice. As you're doing this, the Loxodon sort of like walks on by, holding the smaller green goblin by like the scruff of his robe. Excuse me, little one.
Huh?
My friend here is offering. So like looks down, you can you don't even need to do an insight check. It definitely wasn't an offering. It was no, you fucking do this to help deal with your little indicates to your muddied clothes and such.
Oh, that would be very nice of them.
Yes, it would. Wouldn't it, Zork? Yeah, absolutely. Yep, no problem. Yep, can do this. Yep, sure. Just gets roughly thrown forward. He's like, okay. He presses his stations. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That is so sweet of you. And Mev looks to the Loxodon. Thank you too. I just thank you. It was very nice.
A warrior should always look their best.
Then I hope to look even better in the last fight.
I'll be watching. It has been an
That sounds so ominous.
interesting experience, so to say.
Can I? This is really ominous. Can I insight her for, I guess, bad vibes?
Sure.
Sweet. Okay.
She definitely has that feel of like it's so much an ominous thing, but she's very clearly like she seems to have this eye of like judging you for certain things, and this one it definitely seems to be like she's judging you based on like your combat capabilities. She gives the same kind of eye to everyone else you sort of notice.
Okay. Yeah, Mev will notice this kind of like analytical nature that she has and tuck that away for now. If she's looking for people with combat capabilities, there must be a reason for it. What is her name again?
Gianna.
Oh, she's the one that gave the speech.
No, she wasn't the one that gave the speech. She's the ambassador for the Isle of Tended Earth.
What do I have on here? Primer Juana then.
Juana.
Gave the speech for Foundation Day.
Yeah, but that's Juana. Hers is spelled Gianna. Gianna. Yeah. That's the name of the
Oh, it's Gianna.
Yeah, Gianna, it's accent.
They're so close. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I was confused.
Accents and pronunciation. Yeah, so Gianna is the ambassador for the Isle of Tended Earth. The other one is the premier of the Zamahan Republic. So just so that you have your notes on there.
Yeah, I'm writing them right now, as you can hear.
Yep. Tippity typity type.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
No problem. I understand the confusion, especially with accents and pronunciation stuff.
Is there anything else that anyone is doing? Gonna fucking use my last 2 hit die. Oh, those weren't bad. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And at this point as well, Zork and Gianna sort of head back up to the balcony.
I'm sorry, but I cannot microwave the popcorn.
Unfortunate.
I'll keep my second wind for the next fight because I have a feeling it's going to be the hardest.
Alrighty, so I was I was going to plan to do the other fights, but Nate will definitely want to listen in on them, so I will not.
Yeah.
So instead, as you sort of like catch your breath, prepare yourselves, the hour comes by and the Firu go for their final fights. You head up to the balcony to watch and sort of get a feeling about what you're going to be coming up to next. And that's what we're going to call it for this session.
Woo!
Yeah.
I didn't even need to do all the writing I spent the past 2 weeks doing.
No, you didn't.
Woo! So you
Although
said like, oh, combat will only take like maybe half the session.
Yeah.
I knew.
I blame myself on that one because of the amount of detail I put in the other fights.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the
Are
Are
first...
you sure it's just that, Tom, or did you forget combat is very heavy in D&D in general?
I keep forgetting that too. I very much am a bad judgment when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it's as I said, I can now say, Anna, do you remember when you went on to Roll20 and you saw that I had rolled like all those things and you were just there like, Tom, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is what I was doing.
Ah.
I was rolling the stats for the fighters that were partaking. And then they went toe-to-toe against all of them. So all the fights that I've described are ones that I haven't just made up in my head, they're based on the rolls that I made. As I said,
Nice.
against the goddamn frog thing, it was over in like 5 turns because, oh, look at me, I'm a paladin, I rolled a natural 20. I'm gonna double all my dice. And nearly one-shot something with 127 health.
Yeah. Isn't it great being a paladin? Don't you love paladins?
Yes.
It's
That's why I
Yeah.
became half of one.
Exactly.
It's great in 1v1 combat, but oh boy, I now know I have the secret to dealing with paladins and their smite.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is...
multiple enemies.
Butterflies.
Literally multiple
Are you
enemies.
sure about that? We do have an Aki. He's good for dealing with multiple things.
Yes, but like I
Yeah.
was referring more in like back when it was the God's Headache and such, and I was just like, what the fuck am I gonna do against this? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
right, duh. Just have multiple enemies and force them to either choose between using their smites or using the using the spells for their smites or using the spells, to help out or utility and all that stuff. It's like, oh yeah, right. Why the fuck didn't I think of that before? Maybe because I was a newbie DM, but now it's like, now I know.
You also forgot the other most important thing. That was our weakness.
Mhm.
Insects.
Insects.
Yeah, that's
Specifically butterflies.
We were fucking murdered by just about everything bug related.
Yeah.
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 Just like the swarms. That's the reason why.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where it's like, oh man, you guys beat the shit out of that cave dragon. Man, oh my god, you guys nearly died to some butterflies and a wasp?
Yeah.